for example, oh yeah, which button do I need for this? Oh, how do I get here? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's always very helpful.
Okay, cool. I think we're live. Alright, cool. We are live. But yeah,
Yep, we are live.
I am not going to use Twitch. I don't think. Maybe because, well, let's see if this works, because Twitch has been being a bunch of assholes, and they've banned multi-streaming. I believe the new terms of
Um,
service says you're not supposed to be able to like stream on multiple platforms at the same time.
yeah, I think it was. I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but fuck Twitch. I'm just gonna do it anyway.
Mm.
And if they
It's
ban me, that's their fault. That's not my problem.
exactly, and you still have YouTube, so it's probably alright.
Yeah, whatever. Like, Twitch is seemingly going down in flames anyway, so I'm not gonna be too
Yeah.
bothered if it just dies. Like, yeah, who cares?
I'd be a
Go-
bit annoyed because of the amount of subscription money I put into it.
oh God, my condolences. That's
Yeah, but at least
not.
it's going to the creators and not like straight to Twitch. So
I guess, but still, like, fuck Twitch at this point.
Twitch is not my homie.
Yeah,
Twitch is not my best friend.
Twitch is nobody's homie. Let's be real.
Nobody's homie.
Twitch
Nobody's friend.
Twitch doesn't like anybody. Nobody likes Twitch. Yeah,
Yeah,
let
exactly.
me.
Not even the verified accounts.
God. Well, to be fair, that's true of most like social media platforms. How many social media platforms actually like? How many people on Twitter like Twitter?
Exactly. Exactly, bro.
Yeah, that's just how it works. Nobody likes him, but we can't live without him. Yeah, let me just send out these. Let
Yeah, do
me
it.
let me ping people, and then we can start doing some art shit.
Yeah. Very cool. I also sent the sketch of what I have in mind, and
Oh,
like
cool.
a texture example as well.
Okay, sure, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, I'm just gonna share the YouTube link, I think, because like once again, Twitch can go kiss my ass. Yeah.
Yes. Very good.
Why the hell does YouTube not just put all the things I need in one place though? I don't understand. Just give me a link that I can send people. That's all I need. That's literally all I need. It's
Yeah,
fine.
bro.
It's fine. I got it. I got it.
You got it.
Cool. Let's ping some more people. Let's ping some more people. But yeah, it's nice that it finally rained again today. It's hasn't been raining for like the last month, feels like.
Mm. Yeah, like it's been at like 20 something degrees consistently.
It
Now it's
sucks.
finally under 20 degrees. It's 19.
Can you hear me? Can you hear the fans I have going in the background?
No.
Okay, good, because I have two fans going in the background. I bought an air cooler specifically. Yeah.
It is a wild type of heat, isn't it?
Well, it's just like it's not even that hot outside. It's just like it's inside. It sucks worse
Mm-hmm.
because it's a fucking Victorian house, so it's like brick ass building, So it's just like trapping heat inside, and it's hotter inside than outside. I'm like, why? Why are you doing this?
Yes. Yeah, like the UK just does that when it's hot, you know.
Bloody UK. Disgusting. Alright, cool. Let's go and do some stuff. Before we
Yay.
start, how about you guys just like introduce yourselves real quick? I'll introduce you for Saren, because you are eating, so you probably shouldn't talk yet.
Yeah, currently consumed.
Yes, consuming, devouring the week.
Yeah, that kind of was your.
Yeah, Sophie, you go first.
Yes. So, hello everybody. I am Sophie Elliott. I am a freelance illustrator and one of Review's friends, and I am here today to learn how to do Blender.
And do
uh,
other stuff. Where it's not
yeah,
just
do
Blender.
other stuff. It's not just Blender, you know. Sometimes we might talk about stuff. Sometimes we might talk
We're
about
starting with
com.
Blender, and then we'll probably
Yes.
jump into like storytelling later.
Yes. Yes. Sounds good. Sounds good. Yes. And yeah, that's me. Oh, also my commissions are open if anyone is interested. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on TikTok, and you can find me on the internet in general. Alrighty, that's me done for today. So
Cool. Saren, you have anything you want me to specifically say for you? You can just type it. If you don't, if you're not, I'm just gonna rattle you off. Let's wait for a little bit.
yes, we are waiting on the ground.
Nothing specific. All right, fine. Yeah. So Saren is also known as Sherby on Twitter. They're a illustrator, they're a writer, they're a comic author. They do a lot of really cool art, and I hope to work with them sometime. They do a lot of like hot people. I mean, valid, honestly, great, huge market for that, and they do really
Yes.
cool shit. Here's some of their work. Yeah, lots of cool stuff. You know what? I'll jump and look at some Sophie stuff as well. It's probably a good idea.
Yes, please do.
You guys are all great.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, I have a ton of fun hanging out with you guys, so. Hell yeah. Alright, cool. Alright, so. Blender's being annoying again. Thank you, Blender.
Very
Very based. Cool. Blender decided to not respond, but let's just ignore that for now. Yes. Okay, let's try that again. But yes, let's start off with messing around with some Blender stuff because Sophie specifically asked for doing a specific render scene, right?
yes.
It's like
Specific renders.
yeah, figuring out how to do rocks and water, and that should be fun. Let me quickly see if I can get displacement working again because for some reason it always seems to work and then not work sometimes. But let's try and do that. So I'm gonna start off with just a straight plane.
Yep.
And subdivide it a little bit so it's got like a bit of geometry to work with and give it a subdivision.
So are we making a plane?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can use a material to generate a height. If it's not working for whatever reason that I can't figure it out, I'm going to just like sculpt it real quickly and make my own geometry. But you know, it's like the same difference. It's not that bad either way.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Because the main difference between the workflow is just like whether it's procedural or not. So it's fine either way. It's just like a little bit more annoying if I can't do it with displacement, which
Yeah.
theoretically I should be able to do.
Theoretically.
I never remember exactly what the difference is and why it's not working sometimes. But hey,
Alright. I'll
it's
wait
just
for you to like forge ahead with some steps, and then you just like tell me what you did after you figured it out.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's
I
just
think wouldn't
3D's whack.
Yeah, wouldn't extruding it and then kind of collapsing it in on itself work?
What do you mean?
So, if I can just share my screen, the demo. So, for example, right? So we got our little plane here, right?
Oh god, open shading languages was killing Blender. Yay! Okay, no, I figured that out. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm gonna close down Blender again. God damn it. Yeah, I'm not trusting that one anymore.
Yeah,
But-
fair enough.
But yeah, what's up?
Yeah. So then, what I was thinking of doing is doing that, then deleting those vertices. I just unlocked myself. Ignore me. I thought I figured it out when I was playing around with Blender last time, but
No, I'm just gonna
I
sculpt
think-
it. There's no
yeah.
like you don't even need You don't need like 3D geometry to sculpt. All you need is like a flat plane, honestly.
Ah, fair enough. So basically, we'll just pop into sculpt mode then.
Yeah, pretty much. If
Yeah.
I can't, once again, if I can't get it working, but hey, you never know.
Alright.
I
I'm
might.
cracking out the tablet.
Oh, I'm just gonna do it with my. I'm just gonna do it with my mouse. It's fine.
Nah, mate. I want the paper feel of my tablet. You know.
All right, all right.
I want to feel like it's
Fancy.
artsy.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. Fair enough.
Oh, that's like little interlace. It's tiny.
Yeah, that's
Alright. So
fair.
are you just using like a basic raised brush for the sculpt?
Probably. Give me a sec. Let's see. Height. Displacement. I mean, it's doing something. Hmm.
Cool. If you zoom, can you zoom out a little bit so we can see your Oh, what's that?
It's supposed
yeah,
to be
you're doing-
displacement. It's not moving it much, though.
So you're doing a displacement map.
I'm trying to. Huh. Yeah, I'm trying to see why it's not moving in 3 dimensions. That's a little bit weird.
How did you get into a displacement map, by the way?
What do you mean?
So second window, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
The shader, the node tree for the shaders.
yeah. By the way, I think your stream's really zoomed in because I'm not
Is
seeing
it?
a whole lot happening. Yeah. If you
Oh
let me
wait.
catch you-
Oh wait. Yeah, it is weird. Give me a sec.
Yeah. At first, I thought you were just zooming in and out.
No, I'm not.
Oh,
It
wait.
it is very much zoomed in. Wait, give me a sec. It's only showing me like. Yeah, what the hell? Okay, sorry. Give me a sec. That is very weird. Why didn't? I figured it would just like snap to like how large the window, how large it actually is. There we go. Is that better?
Let's have a look. Yes, that is way better. You can see the whole screen now. It's very cool.
Yes. I mean, that is ideal. We don't want it to be weird. I'm gonna throw up some music in the background. Alright, just a little bit. Yay, Synthwave. Nice. Okay, cool. Back to messing around with this. So, let's take a look.
I'd like to pull up that menu so I can do that cool texture thing and do it.
Yeah. It's so weird why it's like it refuses to work properly though. Yeah, it's just not really moving.
Go look at that one. Is that shader editor specifically?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, this one. Shader editor, that's where it is.
There we go.
Yeah, there's no reason why this shouldn't be working. Factor, object space. I was already on object space. Height,
CRM.
scale,
And
displacement only. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's not doing it. Is there
it's not
some?
doing the thing.
Yeah, it's just not doing the thing. It's weird.
So tell you what. Can you just quickly show me how you got to where you are right now, and then describe to me what you do next once I sort
Give-
of copy your thing down.
Give me a little moment. I'm gonna check to read up a little bit to see what's going on with this because it is very much weird. In the meantime, how's your week been?
Honestly, pretty alright. Like, I've been like trying to save money.
Yeah.
and
That
like,
makes
not
sense.
Going out so much, because we did go out to London fairly recently. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
fair.
Been waiting for.
Oh,
two
there we
days,
go.
3 days.
Magic. I fucking. Alright, there we go. I forgot that you had to switch the surface type. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, that's very cool, actually.
But yeah, you finished what you were saying.
Yeah, so like I'm doing a bit of like a sort of like financial hibernation, just sort of saying it.
That's
Spending
fair.
too much.
That's fair.
Yeah, waiting for some more commissions to come through. By the way, my commissions are open right now. You should
Yes,
commission me,
plug
please.
yourself. Go.
Please.
Gotta live that.
I draw kind of good, please. Thank you.
Lift that hustle. Hell yeah.
Listen, I'm all about the hustle.
Totally valid, honestly.
Oh, look at that. So, is this the water texture specifically?
No. This is just literally a noise texture. So let me show you. This is what it looks. Oh, let me turn off the displacement. If we don't have displacement, this is all it looks like. This is what it looks like. So I'm just, what it's doing, yeah, what it's doing is that it's taking the black and white and then interpreting as the black is going down and white is going up. So let's recreate this from scratch.
Yes.
All right.
So I've got my plane right here, ready to go.
Yep. I'm gonna start with making a completely blank material.
Okay,
So here, I've got hooked up. So here's a principal BSDF and a material output shader. Node, I mean. Make sure your render engine is on cycles because this does not work with Eevee.
Alright, and just a quick refresher, how do I change these?
Go to the top here. Render properties.
Render properties.
Just below, yep.
There we go.
Click on that. Eevee. Cycles.
There we go.
Put the device on GPU instead of CPU, so you don't have to render via CPU. Okay, that should be working now. Cool. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a noise texture node. Here.
Noise node, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna
just Shift A.
Shift A, yeah.
Yep.
Just the same as like
search. Yeah. Same difference.
Noise texture.
Just type in noise. There you go. You got it.
There we go. Pop it down here.
Yep. So now if I connect this, I'm putting it on material output. You can see that it's got noise on there. So we can throw like a color wrap. This is not necessary. I'm just doing. I'm just doing this to customize the noise a little bit.
Okay, what's that? Color ramp.
Color ramp is basically like levels in Photoshop. So you see you've got like two sliders. So this is like pushing the values in and out.
I might just quickly add one just for.
It's good for extra control, you know? Yeah.
Color ramp.
Yeah, it's always useful.
Yeah.
But yes.
So then we're putting that there. We're putting that surface. So we want this to be how do we get the noise texture up?
What do you mean?
What if I just see what you're connecting to noise texture?
Nothing. I am not connecting anything to noise texture. You don't need to. You can add in like a vector mapping node if you want to, but you really don't have to. Yeah. But yes. So let's for John, you good? Alright, so now let's set up displacement. Very easy. Literally just add a displacement node.
Right, so displacement. So just regular displacement, yeah?
Yep. And hook up that color to the height.
Hook up color to height.
And then hook up the displacement to displacement in material output.
Okay.
Alright,
So
now. Yep. Now let me really quickly switch this back to bump only. So now if you click viewport shading and go to rendered mode, it should look like this. Try it.
Hang on, let me just see where you are. Oh yeah, materials down there.
No, don't do anything with that yet, but go up to the top and put it on rendered shading.
Gotcha. Rendered shading.
Did you put light in the scene?
Yeah, there's like a light source here.
Maybe add like a sunlight.
Okay, yeah.
So it's probably a little bit better.
Maybe
You clicked mesh.
Oh.
Go, click Shift A again.
Yeah. Shift A.
Go down
There
to
we go.
lights. There you go, sunlight.
Fine.
Your seeing is very dark.
Yeah.
That's weird. Are you on the underside?
Am I?
No, you're not. Huh. Wait, this is weird. It's very, very, very dark. I don't understand what's going on there.
I'm special. So it was.
Oh, you didn't hook up anything to the surface.
Oh.
Yeah, you gotta plug that. You gotta plug your principal BSDF back into the surface. Or else
Right.
that is like literally there is no surface, so it's not rendering any light. There
There
you
we
go.
go.
Yay, let there be light. It looks like magic. Okay, but yeah, so now you can see that it only looks like a bumpy texture, but it doesn't. So like it looks like it's got like lights and darks, but it's not actually changing the geometry, right?
Mm.
So what you gotta do is in your material properties, you gotta scroll down a little bit, go to your settings.
Yep, going to settings and material properties.
Yep, literally settings right there.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Yep, settings. Click bump only under displacement
Yep, it's
And-
already at bump mode.
and change it to displacement and bump. There you go.
Ooh.
Now when you zoom around, you can see it changes the actual geometry.
Hang on, I just gotta double check something quick. Okay, no, yeah, my PC's doing fine. It's just having a little
Hiccup.
go of it every now and again.
Okay. Alright. It's
So
not.
what was it to do once I pressed displacement and bump?
Now it should be working. Now your displacement works.
Yay.
Now zoom around. You're seeing and see if it's actually 3D. Yeah, you see, it's changing a flat plane into a 3D surface, and it's displacing the surface as it should, based on the noise. So now, if you go into like your shaders, you look at your displacement node. If you change the scale, you can like change how much that noise is displacing it.
Hang on, bro. Before you continue, if you have a look at my screen share.
I'm looking. Yeah.
Yeah, is that normal?
Yeah.
Where it's like kind of.
It's being displaced. Yes, it's changing it.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Try giving it a little bit more geometry. Try subdividing your plane a little bit so it's got more geometry to work with. Because right now it doesn't have a lot of. Just go to edit mode.
Yeah, gotcha. Edit mode.
Select all with A,
Yep, select all day.
and then subdivide, or control
and
E
the-
subdivide.
Control E. Is that in the
No. Go into your 3D view.
Oh yeah.
Hit Control E. Yep.
There we go. Subdivide.
Subdivide. Click that little menu on the bottom. That popped up. Click that little panel that popped up in the bottom left.
Oh yeah,
There.
I see.
Cut it by like 20 times. No, just 20 at the
uh,
top. 20. Yeah, there you go. So it gives you a lot more geometry to actually displace.
That's very fancy.
Yeah, so I cut mine by like about like 35 or something like that. But yes,
Yeah.
so now it's actually moving your geometry up and down. So now what you can do is you can go into like back into shaders. You
Yep.
can hop out of like edit mode, by the way.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
If you go to your displacement node, you can use scale, and you can like sort of like change how much like the displacement
Ooh.
affects it. You can also use the mid level to like just tweak it, right? So it's just
Yeah.
moving stuff around. But yes, that's basically how displacement works.
That is very cool, actually.
Cool.
Like that.
So now that means we can do what you wanted to do with the water and rocks procedurally, and I don't have to sculpt it. I can just make rocks.
You can just make rocks.
Yes.
Simple as.
Simple as. Yeah. Cool. So I'm gonna. What should we do? Maybe I should use Mixer for this, because Mixer is actually better for this. I was going to use Substance Painter. Substance Painter can also work for this, but displacement doesn't work in Substance Painter. And also Mixer is free, so I don't see why not.
Yeah, might as well use the free stuff, you know. just-
Yes. Also, they've got like a bunch of really good shit. And it works better for this purpose anyway. So let me quickly log
Yeah.
in with my Epic Games account, because everything has to be Epic Games now. I mean, I'm not complaining too much, you know, like Fortnite. Yeah, Fortnite funds, like, just like makes Unreal Engine really good. So it's like, hey, you know, it's like good for them, you know. And maybe
Yeah,
one.
no, it's actually crazy, like how much of the actual phenomenon Fortnite is.
Yeah. Also,
I hear.
Epic,
hear
please
about
hire
it.
me. Look, I'm not gonna complain. Epic's got a ton of money, and if they do give it to me, I'll take it. You know.
I'll take it.
I'm very happy where I am, but also like Epic's gonna give me like 3 times the salary or some bullshit like that. So
That's very funny.
ain't gonna complain. All right, is it logging in? Please. I think it is. All right. Okay, cool. Nice. What? I already logged in and it's telling me log in again. Thanks, Epic. Great. This is the worst part of using Epic.
That's very funny.
The terrible login systems.
So what I might do is I might just so specifically with Mixer, is it making textures for?
Yes, we are going to make a material. We are going to make a set of textures to create our own material.
Yes. And, is there a way to maybe download materials?
Sure, I can. Yeah, no, I can just give you the textures I make in a little bit. Like you can,
Ooh, yes.
you can 100% literally just use that.
Yes. But you will be demonstrating
How to make them.
Education reasons. Yes.
Oh my god. Okay. Fetching Yes, please don't make me log in again. Okay, good. Yay! It worked. Holy shit. All right. Nice. Test. All right. So, you can see. Can you see?
Yes, I can see.
Cool. So let's make a new mix. Let's call it rocks. All right. Okay. Now. It's making a new mix, I think.
And a mix is like a file that you can bring over to Blender.
It's just like no, a mix is just like literally what it calls like a working file. It's cleaning up step 0 of 4. Let's let it do its thing. But yeah, basically, what Mixer does, it's like a part of the Quixel library of stuff. I've mentioned Quixel to you before, haven't I?
I didn't.
I'm pretty sure I've talked about it, but okay, so here, I've got it open up on screen now. So basically what Quixel does is they do a bunch of 3D scans, right? So they scan a bunch of materials, they scan a bunch of like props. So like all of this stuff you see Unreal doing, Epic doing lately with Unreal, a lot of these materials are all created by Quixel. Because they bought Quixel and they just have a bunch of assets that you can use for free, and they're all really high quality and really, really good, and they all plug into Unreal Engine really well, which is why I use it.
That's fair. You did show me Polyhaven, but you didn't show me Quixel.
Okay, well Polyhaven is a little bit different. Like Quixel, like they come with it also comes with like its own software they can plug, and it just exports directly into Blender or Unreal. Also Mixer's being weird. Cool. I think it's stuck on the initial file creation, so I'm just gonna open it up again. I hope it doesn't ask me to like log in. If it's being annoying, I'm just gonna open up Substance because it's gonna do mostly the same thing. Oh my god, it is asking me to log in again. Yeah, to be fair, I haven't updated Quixel Mixer in like a year, so maybe that could be why. But every time I want to log into my Epic's games account, maybe should I turn off my VPN? It keeps telling me to do like the 2-factor authentication thing. It's like, prove you're not a robot. Yes, I am 100% a robot.
You're human.
Oh my god. Incorrect response, so it thinks I'm a robot.
Nah, the thing is with those things is
These are just Midjourney. You're using Midjourney results to test for humans. How ironic is that?
it's very funny.
Come on. Can we just work? No, I don't want to update. Just let me work.
Let me work, let me cook. Let me cook.
Oh my god, alright, finally. There we go. Okay, it worked. It worked. Okay, so, yeah, when we start with Mixer, you're just gonna literally have this. You're gonna have a blank nothing. So this is just a plane. What you can do, what Mixer is great for, is here's all these different materials. They can just plop in and get like something down real quick. So
Oh,
let's
wow.
see. What do we like the look of? This cobblestone, maybe?
Cool.
Because I already have that on.
Maybe maybe something a bit more like reddy brown.
Yeah. Why don't you describe your what kind of rocks you wanted to make for me?
Right. So what I was thinking is something quite similar to what you would see in like Cyclone,
Yeah.
where sometimes you get like a slightly more reddish like cliff face. It's still like quite
Yes.
stony, but there's a bit more like iron in it, so it comes off as like a bit more red, a little bit more yellow, chalky, like that kind of texture.
Sure.
Yeah, so like seaside cliff face, like very a little bit of plant growth would be fine as well, but it's optional. But like that kind of just really nice coast texture.
Yeah. Give me a second. Mixer's being another kind of weird right now because it's not showing me any layers for some reason.
Oh no.
This is gonna be.
Oh, here we go. Oh, oh, did you just like put
Yes.
one texture on top of another?
Yes.
Sort of
See,
like
this is why I say Mixer is actually really, really, really good for this. God, am I gonna have to install a new version of Mixer just for just to demonstrate this? Because like Mixer is honestly absolutely perfect for what we need, what we want to do right now. But it's refusing to show me layers, which is not helpful at all. Oh my God, Mixer, why are you doing this? Why are layers not showing up? Yeah, it's just not okay. I'm gonna fucking all right. Screw it. I'm gonna install a new version of Mixer and get back to you on this. All right.
yep, sounds good.
Thank you.
So we are experiencing technical difficulties
It's
here.
not even my.
The,
It's not even my fault.
learning stream. It's not even your fault.
I didn't. Mixer's just being an asshole. Whatever. Let it install. It can't take that long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only like 30 seconds. Should be fine. But yeah, in the meantime, let me show you some stuff I've been working on.
Yes. Very good.
I've been messing around more with the Emperor's Tarot thing that I've been wanting to get cracking on.
Oh yes. Oh yes. So I'm very excited to see some.
Oh God, reading Photoshop format. It's not that big a file. Why is it taking so long to read? I don't think it's that big, at least.
Did you accidentally open like a 4K version or something?
No. Wait, let me check how big it is. It's only 400 megabytes. That's not that big.
Only 400 megabytes.
It's not that crazy.
Bigger than most retro games, you know.
Yeah, but that's still not that
One
big.
file.
But yeah, look,
Ooh.
yes.
Yes. So this is a work in progress so far.
Yeah, of course. No, I'm gonna ship it. It's done.
It is sick, and it's very sick, Chevy. Hell yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna be working on this more and getting it done. I mean, you guys are doing like a rough pan over thing. I mean, I just like blocking out shapes and starting to like add stuff. Let's see, what else did I get up to? Give me a sec. Oh yeah, I also have like I've been starting so many projects that I'm not gonna have like time to like if like properly do.
Very good.
But yeah, so this is my thing. I want to do like a Chinese inspired Dark Souls, and like so like sort of this is pretty much like Black Myth Wukong exists, but that's different. But that's different. That's very much like all the spirits and like the gods and like a bunch of like what do you call it, furries, I guess, and like beast people, whatever. And I want to do like more like the humanoid side of like ancient China, you know. I want to like
Yeah.
get in and do this, so just like Chinese opera and make him to like a big mutated monster dude. And
Honestly,
I'm gonna.
I'm a huge fan of like Chinese and Cantonese opera. Like,
Yeah.
The outfits and the vibes.
Yes, and she slapped some skulls on those poles just because, like, come on, you've got a bunch of flags and poles on your back. I mean, what are you gonna do if you're not gonna slap some skulls on there? You know.
Yes. Very, very
Let's see.
So I'm here.
Oh, there you
good.
are.
Hello.
Yay!
Hello.
Welcome, 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 welcome. But yeah, let me just quickly finish introducing this as well. So this is I have another project which I want to do. It's like diesel punk with like World War One/World War II aesthetics, but for mechs.
Yes, I remember you talking about this as well.
Yeah. And then like I fleshed out the idea a little bit more. It's gonna be like sort of like a diesel punk, but like sort of like pan solar system thing. So like yes, it's like they have spaceships, but it's all really diesel punk spaceships. But they don't have like
That's sick.
but they don't have like they don't really have like faster and light travel, so it's like all like super slow, so it's like all like really chunky and stuff, and then it's gonna be fighting like aliens, and then I'm gonna mix in some mecha anime elements into it, so you've got like all this like ace pilots and strong personalities and stuff. So after I do like the mech design, I'm gonna do like a cool little character to go along with it. That should be a lot of fun, I think.
It sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I love it. I always really liked kind of diesel punk designs.
hell yes.
Kind of gritty look.
I feel like a lot of diesel punk designs go World War One for some reason, and not a lot of World War Two. So I'm like, might as well advance a little bit more, and
Yeah.
I can still mess around with both of them.
Yeah, and World War II definitely does have some very strong aesthetic.
Especially the planes. Like I love the plane aesthetics, which is why this one is more sort of like a, like the B-17 Flying Fortress that the U.S. had. This is basically my incarnation of that.
Yeah, this is very good. I like how he has huge knee pads.
I mean, you gotta make it stylized somehow.
Yes, big knee pad.
Okay.
I'm gonna actually see what I've been working on, because I've actually finished
Ooh.
up like a really cool thingy yesterday.
Yeah, let's do a bit of art sharing.
Yes, it's a show.
Show and tell. Show and tell.
Show and tell. Alright, so I've been working on some more environmental designs, and just
Let me see if I can pop out Discord so I can.
there we go. There we go. So this is what I've currently got going on.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something I've been working on for like about 2 days, so it's a bit more of like a sort of lighter, more like conceptual piece.
Okay. Disgusting. Twitter.
Yeah,
It's so embarrassing to use Twitter.
I know. I know. But yeah, what else have I got? I've also been doing some development stuff. Where is she? That's not it. That's not it. That's not it.
I think
Reorganize.
I think later when I go over like sort of like compositions and stuff, that will probably help you as well.
Oh yeah, like I'm really liking this just because it is looking down from a very high point, so that's why the river is a bit more like full-bodied than most other like bird's eye view stuff.
Also, oh my god, thank God Mixer's finally working.
It's working.
Yeah, but finish showing what you guys have been working on first. That's I'm super interested.
Yeah. So that's kind of the vibe of what I've been working on for now, and this is probably my best bit. So
Is this for a
I'm
rug
gonna
grind?
Yes.
Of course. Perhaps, maybe, of course.
Perhaps, maybe. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be adding some more textures and just sort of going into the detail way more on this piece. But
Yeah.
this is just me playing around with the color and like, being a bit more like just practicing with like just perspective and things as well.
This is why I think 3D will really help, because is the tunnel sort of meant to be like sort of curving upwards?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
The tunnel's kind of flowed down from a major city.
Yeah.
It just keeps building on top of itself.
So
that's kind of
I feel
what I'm
like
going for.
I feel like if we had built this scene out in Blender first, it would actually really help with just like making sure all the perspectives on point.
Yeah, for this I used a basic perspective grid, and this is why I want to learn a bit more in Blender, just to kind of elevate my stuff and
Yep.
make it way more.
Of course,
Yeah, make it more efficient and just make it much more like believable.
less guesswork, you know.
Less guesswork. Exactly.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, anyway, enough about me and that little bit of work. How about we have a look at Shelby stuff?
Sharon, you've been working on anything lately?
piece that I was showing you, or like the thumbnails.
Ah, yes. Actually, yeah. Why don't you throw up like what you've been? Have you done any more work on those?
So I did like 3 more thumbnails, kind of trying to get
Cool.
the vibe of what you were describing.
Yeah.
Like the
From over.
like a dynamic angle, or like trying to get different angles, and also downsizing the structure that I went with originally.
Okay. Yeah, it feels a little bit more hidden, right? If you like make it not so prominent.
Yeah, I still want it to have like being the side of a mountain, but it's kind of like the entrance is a little bit smaller. There's like more rocks overhanging to kind of shadow it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'm thinking, because I kind of like the idea of like the shape of the entrance mimicking the shape of like the nearby rocks to almost give it this illusion where you don't actually see it until you're up close. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, just shoot it over. I can show people, and then we can work on that in a little bit.
Yeah, let's have a look. I want to see it with my eyes, my bare eyes, please.
I'll pull up the original design. I see that one. There we go.
Well, let's see.
Nice.
Yeah, the one on the right was like the originals that I had sent you, and then the 3 on the left were like some of the ones that I came up after.
I love the like cedar, like fir style trees. They're very nice.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a cold environment and like more northern.
Yeah.
Oh,
I do think they're very solid sketches.
Yes, these are very, very good.
Cool. All right. Good to hear what you guys have been working on. It's always really cool to see like what ideas people have brewing. So if you
I
guys
like how we're both working on environments as well. It's very fun.
good,
It's good, you know?
it's healthy. It's healthy.
It's healthy. We're expanding, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Get good. But but yes. All right. Cool. Hey, Dank. Thanks for coming hang out and watch. Dank is there, Sophie.
Hello.
But yeah. Let's take a look at some making texture for ourselves. So why don't you quickly describe the rocks again, so I don't forget. Yeah, so I open up Mixer, and then, like I said, the nice thing about Mixer is it's got a ridiculous amount of like materials that's already part of Mixer, right? So here's like I search for beach, and this is like a bunch of rock textures that are suitable for beaches. Yes. So why don't you quickly describe what you think what the beach rock should look like?
I think it should be rather coarse.
Okay.
Definitely like kind of layered, so like you can see the layers in it. And I would personally go for like a sort of like a lighter tone,
Okay.
so that it stands out against the water.
That makes sense. Okay.
It's very stony.
Nice. Oh no, don't worry. We can change that. So I'm just gonna be looking at a bunch.
I am in awe. Here I was thinking I was gonna have to sculpt like specific.
Nope. You definitely don't have to. And this is why I want to get displacement working, because we could just use this. Okay. So let me grab
Ooh, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Which one?
That
This
you
one?
just picked. The other one, yeah.
Wait, which one?
The one you just picked.
Literally this one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No worries. I'm downloading a few other ones so we have more stuff to mix and match in between. Corrupt
Look at that.
zip file.
That's
Okay.
exactly what I'm thinking.
Thanks, Mixer.
Corrupt. No. No.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, so let's also grab us some sand. I think this will be nice. Download. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely something like soft. Yeah, like that.
Yeah. So let's build up our material now. based on, oh, it's still downloading that sand. Based on basically the level of the levels of what we want to make. So
Yeah, sorry
this
guys, my dog's just come up to me and is looking for a pet. Just
is ah.
hello, Daisy.
I just want to
Hey.
play.
Hey. Hey, puppy. Oh, she's got some area. Let me just get it out for her. You got a little burr in her ear. Silly thing. She's got a little grass seed.
So the nice thing about Mixer is that it lets you add liquid. So if I add a liquid layer, it's just literally, and you can raise the layer
Ooh.
and lower it.
Oh, it is shiny. Look at how shiny it is. Wow.
It's so satisfying.
Yep.
That's
Let's
right.
turn that off for now as we work a little bit more of what we
Quick
have
question,
here.
Broski, before we continue any further, is Mixer free?
Yes.
Right. I'm getting that immediately.
Yes, it's free.
You sold it to me. You sold it. And it's on the Epic Store, right?
No, just search for Quixel, the main Quixel site. Okay, so you see I dropped in another layer of another surface on top, right? So once again, we can blend between these two materials with the height. So I can like sort of raise it out or lower it. And you can also have the blend radius. So you can mess around with that. And you can also, so for example, right now these two sands are very different colors, right? So I can, if I want to mix a little bit more, I can go into the albedo, and I can tint it a little bit. So
Is the albedo like the
yeah, it's just
base color?
yes, that's the base color. So I do like that it's a little bit different, so I won't completely mix it, but
Yeah, it gives the impression that there's like a little bit of mud or something. Or like
Yes.
it's more sediment style sand.
yep. So we're just tinting a little bit, and make it looks like it fits together well. And there we go. I think that's a pretty good mud layer. So now we have our basic mud, and now let's build on top and add some pebbles. For example, now let's drop in some shore rocks. And now you've got
basically
rocks.
Drop it in right on top of the layer, just like that.
Yep.
Oh,
See,
look how nice and easy
you
that
can
looks.
grow them out.
Oh. I'm having a lot of fun with this. This is great.
Oh yeah, this is a ton of fun, and you can always sort of like mess around with how much it displaces. So for example, I don't like that it's so strong. Well, I can turn it even stronger if I want to, but I can just turn it down a little bit, so it's a little bit more flat.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh look! Ah, yeah, look at that.
There we go.
That's more cobbly than anything.
Yep.
Well. Okay, I've downloaded Mixer, so I'm gonna just quickly make sure that that's downloading correctly.
Do that.
Yep. So I don't want it to be like so obvious. So I'm just gonna like sort of like sink them in a little bit into the sand. Peeking out maybe a little bit more than this. Yep, and then if we want to get a little bit more randomness in here, I can start masking this like in Photoshop. So let me add a mask stack.
So it
And
has
yes, it's so let me add like a noise.
I think I'm definitely. Ooh, excuse me. I think I'm definitely going to be looking back at this live stream to sort of get familiar with Mixer as well. Oh, oh my god! It's geometrying it.
So if I turn off this mask and see like where it's sort of like disappearing the rocks.
Oh wow! It definitely like takes. One thing I'm really fascinated by is the ability it has to just sort of assume where things are.
Yeah, that's
Like,
because they're
use
all
AI.
because
Yeah.
well, it's not just AI, right? Because they made these materials, so they all have like height data for the materials, so they know which parts the displacement tells them how tall each point of the material is. So you can just use that to sync that in and out. and a nose.
That is very.
It's very useful. Shoreline beach rocks. I downloaded one with a little bit of moss earlier. Did it not download? Mossy beach rocks. I'll just let it re-download, I guess. But yeah, so like you can see, you can very quickly get something really nice out of it. Let's turn that water back on. Raise it. Oops. You can also like mess around with like sort of like, for example, you can change like how deep that water looks. So like how opaque it is. The moistness level. See, you can make you can like make it make like the surfaces above it more moist.
Yeah. The thing is, my YouTube stream just crapped out. So just
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just because of my internet, but I've just turned it down a little bit.
That's fine.
Okay. So I'm gonna see if I can get to that. Yep. Make that. And that doesn't look good. My internet my internet's not working.
It's
There we go,
okay.
1 second.
All right, it's fine.
There we go.
Well, I just threw in like another layer of rocks, but I was just saying, if I add that water level back in, you can see, you can sort of like tweak like a lot of stuff. Like for example, see I'm making like the surface more moist above it, so it's wetter.
Moist.
I mean that's what it says, but it's like just like how wet and slick the above surfaces are. You can sort of tweak like how strong that surface is to like get a wide variety of effects out of it. But yes.
Man, I'm definitely loving this. I'm definitely playing this.
Yep. So I mixed another layer of rocks in. Did we want?
You just keep layering and layering, right?
Yeah. Well, no, not really. I was thinking, did we want this to be more sort of reddish, maybe? So you can just sort of like, let's add a little bit of redness to this.
Yeah.
And we can sort of make this level a little bit more maybe bluish. Just tint it a little bit so it looks like a little bit nicer. So we've got some nice variance in there. And then let's add in our last layer of rock cliff stuff. Rocks. Okay. So this is obviously too strong. So what we can do is make that displacement higher. So you've got like those like larger valleys. And then we can pull that black down. So it's only peeking through here and there. How does that feel?
I like that. It feels very like, like when you see all the layers on like a coastal cliff.
Uh-huh.
It feels very that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not so jagged. Ooh. Like that.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah, I like that.
Actually, hell, let me show you something weird. So let me pull that back up. You can actually invert it, so it turns it the other way. So displacement can be inverted. So yeah, you can do some weird stuff with this. But yeah,
Like I'm definitely gonna be playing around with this because it looks so just satisfying to do as well.
yeah, I really like messing around with it. But you can see how like all the layers we built underneath are still showing. So like the sand is still there, the pebbles are still there, the smaller rocks are still there, and then we add like a proper layer of like those rocks, and now it all comes together. And this is a ready to be used texture.
And how would you transfer this from Mixer over to Blender?
Very easily. I will show you how. But yeah, let me add that water surface back in. So I see water. Water, mate.
Water.
Yep. But yes, we'll add that water in Blender probably. So I'm just gonna turn that off for now. What you do is go to File. Wait, no, actually, it's literally up here. Here, export. So export target. I'm gonna use custom, enter location. Oh, it's already in streaming art, so that's fine. All right, new. And I'm just gonna save it out here. Select, and you see like under export, there's a bunch of like textures I can that I can export out. You got albedo, roughness, normal, displacement, blah blah blah, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. All I got to do to press is, let me switch out to 4K textures, export to disk, and it should export them out. And then you have a set of textures ready to use.
Very lovely.
Yep.
So, Sherbet, have you, how familiar are you with 3D and using 3D for your art?
So I actually just got into it recently.
I was helping
actually
Sarah.
did a stream.
I was helping Sarah on another stream we had.
Oh yeah, I think you did
Yeah.
one before me. Yeah, hell yeah.
But yeah, you see,
It was for textures.
you see. Now we have a new set of textures ready to use.
Yeah. Can you link me over some of them so I can dive
No,
in very cool and fun?
never. Haha. No, here you go. I'm just gonna drop it into our chat. Oh god, it's 200 megabytes. Cool. I still have that free Discord Nitro though, so it should be fine.
Yeah.
But so now we can come back into Blender and hook this stuff up.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get hooking.
Let's get okay. Hang on, I'm gonna see if I can like just thing here.
Hmm.
I'm trying to watch the stream to sort of follow along, but
Oh, let me know if there's any problems.
yeah. Yeah, that should be fine. There we go. Okay. I think I can. I'll just need to up the settings a bit so I can actually see what's going on. There we go. Okay, perfect.
Cool. So as before, I'm just literally just hooking up everything I have. I'm
So
gonna.
we're currently working with what we did before with the noise texture as well as the color.
No, I'm gonna get rid of the noise. We don't need the noise anymore because we have yes, we don't need a noise because we have our new the stream keeps lagging. Oh, that sucks, Dan. Is it lagging on your end as well? Is
a
lag on
little bit.
is it me or is it your internet is the question? It looks fine on my end.
Honestly, for me, I can never tell because my internet is so spotty.
Okay, so that's not super helpful, but at least on my end it looks fine. So I'm just gonna treat it as okay for now, and if somebody complains, then I will look into it. And I don't know how much I can do about it anyway, but the point of me doing that entire thing we did just now is because that means we built our own custom displacement map. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna cancel that upload and upload these separately. So, hopefully that will be a little bit faster. Still not very fast because British internet is terrible compared to Hong Kong internet. Great.
Oh yeah, God, I miss Hong Kong internet so much.
Oh, you know what? Maybe it could also be lagging a little bit right now because I'm uploading all these files for you. We'll see. Let me let me continue, I guess.
I think there might be. Well,
Yeah, let me just
shall
continue
shall
hooking this up.
continue on just doing stories for now?
No, it's fine. Oh no, don't worry about it. No, it's cool. So yeah, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your screen just fine. I can see the shader editor as well.
Yeah. Well, it's all hooked up in Blender now, so there we go. It's all there in Blender. And now we can do our lighting.
So
What's up?
basically, it looks like you've added a multiply layer, three PNG layers, and four PNG layers, and then you use the bump layer to attach it to the principal VSDF.
Yeah.
And as a result, the noise textures has been taken out.
Yes, we don't need a noise texture anymore. The noise was literally just to like demonstrate what it could look like. Like by itself it really did not matter. So I'm just gonna quickly drop in HDRI. You guys remember what HDRIs are, right?
Yes.
Okay.
HDRI, my favorite. Scrumptious with HDRI.
Gorgeous, mate. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so
It's loading this PNG like I'm in the early 2000s. It's very funny.
well, they are also like 4K
Slowly
textures.
scrolling down.
To be fair, these are like 4K textures. They're not small files. But yes, so now we have a bunch of rocks in Blender. And they are also displacing, so we don't need to like worry too much about having geometry to work with. Okay. I can even tone it down a little bit so it's not as jagged. But either way, now we have rocks. And now we can think about adding water. So I'm going to add a new water material. And add like a glass material. And there you go, water with rocks.
Hey.
Water with rocks.
Real easy, honestly.
Water rocks.
Water rocks. Yeah.
Water rocks.
Yep. Now let me mess around with a little bit, maybe. What was the thing?
So
What was the
I'm just
thing?
gonna download it and see if I can
Yeah. Voronoi.
Daisy. Hey Daisy. Thank you. Sweetie girl.
I'm just quickly see if I can
Do you
do
guys
the.
have pets at home?
You know I don't.
I know you don't because you moved fairly recently and also your work.
Wow, like 9 months ago. But yeah.
Yeah.
Good cat.
I mean, 9 months is kind of recently.
It is relatively recent for a big move, I suppose. Yeah, Shirby's got a cat though.
Little cat. Yes.
Little cat. What's the name?
Her name is Lily, but we just call her Dee Dee.
Dee Dee.
She's very shy.
Dee Dee.
She's sweet.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna
I love
plug
cats.
plug this into the. All right, that's might be a little bit too strong. So I'm just gonna add like a little bit of this ripple texture to the water,
Yeah.
so it looks like it's rippling a little bit more. Yeah, and you can also animate this so it looks like it's rippling. It looks like it's rippling live.
You know what? I think I might just step back a bit and just watch the rest of the stream, because my computer's screaming at me a little bit because I have Blender
Oh.
rendering stuff. I have Mixer downloading.
Jesus Christ! All right, you've got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. So I'll watch so I don't anger everyone.
But yes, so this is how you do that. So I added a water plane. So let's recap. So I plugged in those textures I had. I used the displacement texture on the displacement. That all makes sense, right?
Yes.
Cool. And I added a new just like flat plane. I added a glass shader to it, a glass BSDF. So I mean, water is basically just glass, at least for our purposes right now. So it looks close enough. So I added glass shader to it, to the surface, and then I added and then I used a wave texture to create a normal texture to sort of like distort it a little bit, so it looks like it's not just like a blank water, right? Not just like purely smooth.
Yeah.
So now we have our rock layer, and we have our water layer. That's how you do it. Make sense?
Oh, yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. It's actually way easier than I thought.
It's not that
I thought
hard.
there was going to be like sculpting involved. I thought there was going to be like, you're going to have to make individual objects and sculpt those and then add a texture to those. But no, it turns out you can just get a plane, you do a quick little displacement, or you can just get a texture from Mixture and just add that in.
3D is not meant to be
Isn't that
hard.
fun?
3D
Yes,
is easy.
Well, easy when you know.
When you know what you're doing. When you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
it's
When you
much.
know what you're doing, it is easy.
It's meant to make.
You know.
Yes. Well, it's not meant to like make your life difficult, you know.
Yeah. So I have a quick question actually. In the interest of trying out different stuff, and
Yes.
because we still have a fair amount of time, how would you add, for example, cliffs into this image, like sort of like a sheer cliff?
I mean, I would just do it in. Once again, I'll build it out in Mixer. You know.
Like literally build the cliff itself in Mixer. And
Or you can sculpt it in Blender if you want to. You don't have to use Mixer if you don't want. But let's say, for example, let's get a cliff material. What's a good one? Did it add it? Oh, yeah, it did. Okay. Cool. So we have this. We can just turn that strength up pretty insane. Oh god. Okay. Is it working? Okay. It's just not. It's not letting me turn anymore for some reason. But it is working. Alright. But yeah, so now we've got like a bunch of, let's see. Huh, it's not letting me turn the camera anymore, which is weird. But it's fine. It is working.
the camera privileges have been invoked.
I suppose so. But yeah, now we have like that displacement cranked up real high, right?
Yeah.
So now we've got like we've got a bunch of cliffs. Like is this closer to what you were thinking of?
I'm just waiting for the stream to load.
Oh.
Just double check.
Yeah. Let me know when it's done.
Okay.
I'm just gonna tweak the colors a little bit here and there.
So basically you take a small snapshot of what's going on in the image itself, right?
What do you mean?
So I was thinking more like just having the one pool rather than multiple pools all linked together.
Sure.
So what I'm kind of seeing you do is instead of just having like, for example, the one cliff, the one pool, and the other cliff on the other side, for example, you have all these other, you have this sort of like generated texture,
Yeah.
and you just zoom in on the part you like the most.
Yeah,
and you
but
render that part.
yeah, but also, so like right now you're looking at my mixer file where I have a bunch of different like clips coming out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I don't like that stuff, I can just come in with a paint mask, add paint mask, and we could just paint out a bunch of these extra clips that we don't like.
I see.
Okay, we
So
don't
then-
like
So
these,
then
we
that
don't like
kind of like
these.
masks it out like a Photoshop layer. Where
Yeah,
you
it's the
take
exact same
some
thing.
stuff you don't like. Okay.
Yeah,
And I guess
so...
that also saves on rendering space as well.
No, not really.
Nope.
It doesn't do anything because it's still the exact same thing. It's just like, it's just rendering as like a texture anyway, so it doesn't really change anything. But yeah. So let me save this out again. Yeah, it won't change anything because it's make it go more up and down doesn't change how much data there is. It just changes what the data is.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that does make a lot of sense actually.
Yeah, because it's all just like height data, right? So it's just like, hey, there's this much data here. This is how much white or black there is doesn't change how much information there is. But yeah, let me go back into Blender and just hook that up. So what we can do is we can duplicate this layer, make it a single user. Okay, and then we can swap these out. Oh, is it still exporting? Oh no, I didn't export yet. Okay, export. So yeah, what I'm gonna do with this one is I'm gonna add a second plane with the cliff, and you still have like the original layer without the cliff that you can have under it. Cool. Let me drop these in. AO. Roughness. Plug.
Fascinating seeing how order is done in Blender as well.
It's really easy.
It's easy, but like, the order is just really cool to look at in general.
Sure.
I think just being able to just whip up some order, you know,
Yeah, that makes sense.
make it actual order.
Yeah, so now we have this cliffing, this placing. And we can even make it larger if we want.
Really quickly, I'm gonna be right back. I'll be back in like a minute.
Yo, no worries.
No worries, I'll see you in a bit.
Oh, I didn't instance the material. That's fine. Okay. Let me fix that.
Look at that little UV map. The UV map you just sent.
Ooh!
Yeah, and that's the
Oh, that is
normals.
very cliffy.
Gotta go back and add that original one. Because I accidentally got rid of the original material. Normals. Roughness. Oop. Oh no, what'd I do? Oh, I dropped into the others. I dropped into the 3D space.
Just got dropped in there, you know, randomly.
Oops.
Let's see if I can. Okay, see if I can actually watch this.
Okay, 0.2. Alright. So now we have the cliff we now have the cliff layer. We have our base layer that we want to set up with. And then we can have that cliff layer rise up through there.
Yes. Yes, rise, my cliffs. Rise.
Arise, my cliff. So yeah, now
Rise.
and now because I built that cliff on top, the materials will look relatively close to what we already had. How does that feel for you?
Yeah. That feels quite good. Like, it feels a little less, like, stony and more cliffy, if that makes.
Yeah, I mean that's just like what you're messing around with the materials and mixer, right? So it's all up to you what you want to add. It's all artistic license. But yeah, that's how you add rocks. You add water. You add a cliff.
Much easier than I thought.
Yeah, much easier.
I thought we were gonna be here for another hour and a half.
Oh, honestly, if I was just like, if Mixer wasn't giving me any trouble, and we were just like, hey, let's do it, I would expect to be done with this in like 30 minutes.
Man.
What?
Man.
So simple.
So simple. Banging my head against the
Well,
wall.
that's why you ask me. I know my shit.
Exactly,
Alright, cool.
what else?
We good? We good with this? Like, is there anything else you want me to add for this?
No, not really. Like, I've had my questions answered. Oh, one more thing actually. So, for example, can you apply this texture to other shapes other than like planes?
Yeah, you can.
Plane
You can, but like this was I designed this to work with a plane. Like, okay, for example, like this works for anything, right? Because once again it works with a UV. Once again it works at UV, right? So right now what we did is that this texture that we made is on a flat surface. So yeah, it'll work on whatever thing with a UV that you have, and it will displace it. It'll work for it will work with that, but you won't get the exact same effect because this is made for a 2D plane. Because when we were designing it, we were looking at how it would look on 2D. So let's see if I put this on a cube. It will work.
I want to see the rocky cube. I want to see it.
It's just gonna look like that.
I'm letting the stream load. On stream, I want to see the cube. Ah, please.
Can you see, Saren?
Okay.
I can't.
It's about to come up. It's about to come up.
You can't or you can?
It's
This. Oh wait, the stream started buffering.
Oh no. Okay, I'm pretty sure buffering's not my fault.
It might. It's probably mine. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh yeah, there we go. The stream's just catching up now. I think it's just delayed a bit. Just
Okay.
Whatever's going on in your house.
What is going on in my house? I'm not doing anything.
Somebody's
Someone's
doing something.
stealing your Wi-Fi, bro. Somebody's stealing your Wi-Fi.
Oh
bro.
God, no. My
It's not
wi
good.
my Wi-Fi is literally called Imperium, so if they do, they are besmirching the Emperor.
Come on.
I think Twitch is fine actually. Wait, let me check. Is Twitch working? I hope it's fine.
I'm hoping so.
I mean, like, if anything's weird, then I'm just gonna blame the internet provider and not myself anyway. So
That's the correct thing to do in English.
yeah, like, what am I supposed to do? Just ask for faster internet? This is like literally the best I could get, apart from like Virgin, and I don't trust Virgin. like everybody tells me Virgin Media is terrible. So like I there's no reason for me to ever trust them. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Oh, okay. That must also be my fault then. Let me try stopping and should I try stopping and starting again? Or how can I even fix that? I don't know how to fix that. Let me try turning off Steam and like my other stuff. Maybe that will help.
Yeah, time to streamline, guys. We're learning Blender today. We gotta streamline our processes on our computers.
Let me turn Slack off.
Don't-
No,
don't
Steam.
look
I
at all- don't look at all the background progress.
no Steam. I told you to go away. Thank you, Steam. Go away, Epic Games. Stop updating.
That might be it.
That might be it.
That might be it. Epic Games.
I was just using their software just now. Is Oculus open again? Oculus is open again. Fucking stop I always turn okay, but Oculus is especially annoying because Oculus turns itself on for absolutely no reason, even when I'm not doing VR modeling, and just like pops up, hey, I opened myself up, and then like if you turn off like all of their processes, but leave one open, that one will open under 5 processes for no reason. It just refuses to go away. I have to like make sure they're all turned off all at the same time.
I think you need to check your startup processes and turn some of them off.
No, like that is off. No, but Oculus turns itself on. It's like sometimes like when I open a game, it's just like, hey, you're running 3D, you're running something 3D, and maybe it has a VR mode or something. You sure you don't want VR? It just fucking turns itself on. And
We're gonna turn on all the services.
yeah, and no, normally I like.
Turn on.
And normally I do want Steam and like Epic Games on because I want my game updated. So I'm not gonna turn those off. Okay. Is it still buffering? Is it not working?
I think the stream is like quite far behind.
Oh god, yeah, actually I think you're right. It's showing me doing the cliff stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, that
Demonstrating. But to be fair, when I rewatch the stream, everything's gonna line up.
oh my god, that is so annoying though. You know what? Let me just like also. Is it gonna be worse if I also stream on Discord? How is it gonna be worse? I feel like it might be worse.
It probably will be worse, yeah.
Oh
All the
god.
processes, all of them.
Oh my
Oh.
god. Yay! This is so very not helpful. Why can't the UK just get good internet? Jesus Christ. Community fiber,
Because
please come.
Organized
Good.
internet. That's why you don't get internet, because the people who organize everyone.
Yeah, they can't
Hundreds
give
of people get internet.
people can't get power. If they get power, like how are we going to overcharge them for like zero effort at all? Pretty much.
Exactly.
The only fiber that seems like any kind of good is like community fiber, and they're not in my area yet. It's like, hey, it's coming. How long until it comes? I don't know. Oh look, finally, I think it caught up.
I had the exact same thing happen to me when I was at my university.
Uh-huh.
In my university town with my private accommodation, and like I genuinely just could not get fiber for 3 years.
God.
And they were saying that it was coming for years, literally years.
They're just lying. They're literally just lying. But yeah, I think the stream actually caught up. Can you see the cube?
Yeah, I'm gonna reload it. See how it do.
It's gonna be like,
Yes, I can see the cube.
it's just gonna be like 5 minutes. It's just gonna be 5 minutes of us ranting.
Is like £25, which is like $30 for 1 month. And I come over to the States, and and I hear that some people are paying like $80 a month for their phone.
Oh my god, yeah, I remember that. Actually, yeah, that was what T-Mobile was like asking
What?
me for, I think.
No,
It was like
that's
50,
true.
yeah.
I'm on a family plan, and it's like $80 that I have to spend
You're
just
on
for my
a family
end.
plan and it's still $80.
Yeah,
It's
just
still
for my
$80.
end.
It's called corporate extortion.
This is the corporate hellscape that I live in.
Yes.
Rue, how much are we paying for our phone SIM cards?
£8, I think. I'm paying.
I'm
I'm on
£8
Labara.
a month.
I'm on Labara, so they're pretty
Yeah.
cheap.
He's on the cheap. He's on the cheap stuff. I am on a different provider, but I'm paying like £10 to £12 a month. Yeah, about £10 a month, which
This
is
is a
like
crime.
$50.
This is
You
a
guys
crime.
should rise up against the phone providers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things for you to rise up against.
Yeah, so I'm getting
And,
15
Rise
gigab.
up, bro.
I'm getting 15 gigabytes of 5G for every month for £9. And I get unlimited calls, unlimited texts, and 100 international minutes to 42 countries. Like, you know, the standard stuff. 15 gigabytes of 5G. I never use that up, Like because all I need it for is me when I go out to central London and between the 5 minutes between the studio and at home. So it's like, what else do I need it for?
Like straight up. I need to double check what mine is.
But yeah, okay. So we're good with the 3D stuff now, right? You've seen how it looks like when we make a rock cube. Right? We good?
Yeah.
Uh,
Look at that little rock cube. Yeah, look at it.
I'm gonna
Look at Rocky.
I'm gonna switch over to Photoshop now, I think. Let me turn off that display. Okay, cool. And of course it is probably not displaying properly for some reason.
I love it when that happens. It's so funny.
Oh no, it
It's
is.
so funny.
No, it is. It seems like it's actually working.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's
Oh.
working after all this time.
It's sort of working. It's a different kind of working. It's capturing the it's capturing Photoshop, but
It's
the base Photoshop.
surviving.
Okay.
Oh, you accidentally stopped streaming.
Oh my god, did it?
No, what?
Yeah.
I'm not even that
It's
close yet.
It's streaming on OBS.
Okay, now it's back. It's back. For some reason, it cut me out.
Great. I mean, this you gotta love fucked up tech issues.
Fucked up. It's fucked up.
But yeah, OBS has been streaming this entire time, so like I'm not doing anything weird to it.
Okay, yeah.
But yes, let's continue just like trash talking the absolute disgrace that are fucking internet providers, because they are absolutely terrible. Especially the US ones, because there is literally just extortion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It literally
like,
is.
is it true that like certain providers have certain claims over certain land?
Well, unofficially though, right? They're not technically supposed to.
They're not technically supposed to, but they do.
Yeah,
Anyway,
pretty
and
much.
nobody makes a fuss about it, so it's just I'm forced to use like one called Spectrum, and it's just they're always upgrading their hardware, but that just means their hardware is like absolute shit, and they have to upgrade it.
Yes, but it's more but see, when they upgrade it, it's not less shit, it's just more shit.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like an iPhone where it just dies after a year or so. And
Oh,
it's
yeah,
like
but
that, it dies after a couple months.
They design it to die, that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Planned obsolescence, my guy.
Yeah, so good. So good. We gotta love some
I-
extortion. Corporate extortion, that's just
You,
good.
you wanna know something actually? There is there was like this book I remember seeing recently where there's like sort of like a cult movement to like learn how to repair everything.
How's that a
Like,
cult?
try
That should
and
just be
push the
reason. That
book to be
seems
able to-
reasonable.
Yeah, but the thing is, what a lot of people do nowadays, for example, like car manufacturers, is they make things almost impossible to fix without certain special tools.
No,
So you
literally,
have to
literally
use
impossible. I think.
mechanic. Yeah. But like, it's just so interesting, like how they just decided to like pay all repairing stuff rather than like allowing people to be able to just get into their own products and like fix them. You know?
Wait, I tried. I just changed my streaming bitrate. It's telling me good connection now. Is that any better?
Not getting any buffering?
Yeah, yeah, I'm not getting any buffering now.
Oh, thank. Was it just that? Why would? Oh my god. Why did default settings not work? I don't understand this. Okay, whatever. But we are good now. So hopefully that's not it. What we did previously was successful, right? You learned stuff. You don't have any questions, right? Right.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of questions now.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about storytelling. Why don't we?
Hey.
Cool. All right.
Your turn now. Your turn.
All right, Saren. Let's talk about storytelling and composition. So, first of all, what is composition? Composition is making people look at your image and making them think it looks pretty, and that is both hard and very easy at the same time. So honestly, most of the time, what I just do is I just stick with like the basics, like doing the basics, like the free the rule of thirds is honestly very effective, and there's not a lot of reason to to just like ignore it, right? It's usually a really good idea. Another really good thing to keep in mind is that you can have multiple. You want to have effective midground, effective foreground, effective background. And the thing of that is, the more stuff you have, the more depth it feels like there's. So, for example, let's take like one of these pieces you have right here. So right now we have our foreground here, and our midground here, about like all of this chunk, and the background here, right? Yeah, it's probably like a couple seconds lagging behind, I think, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, what the hell? YouTube. What does that mean? I don't understand. YouTube just sent me another warning message. Okay, the stream's current bitrate, 4,600 blah 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 kbps, is lower than the recommended bitrate. We recommend you use a stream bitrate of 4,500, which is less than what it's streaming at. Cool. I don't know why you're still giving me a warning message about this, but okay. So we have got a foreground, we've got a midground, we've got a background, so it looks alright. But you can always add more layers of that, right? So you can have an extreme foreground. So maybe we can have like maybe some rocks over here. Let's just like sort of crop this in. You got more. You can add a little bit more depth to it. Maybe like here's your main character.
Yeah, I was thinking of adding like a few people chain.
Yeah, so you can always add even more depth with it by just adding more stuff and more layers, because like the less it looks like you organized it into specifically foreground, midground, and background, the more convincing it feels, the more stuff there is to look at. It is usually better to just like have more stuff in there to fool the viewer into thinking it's like a real place and not just like, oh hey, somebody designed it to look like this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would
More
probably
natural.
Add a few more trees. And like the thing is, like I think this shot's not bad. I just think we could like juice it up a little bit more. So basically, like this is probably not like the best place for a character because it's interfering a little bit with that with your focal point. So if we shrink him down, shrink that boy down, we want to lead everything into here, right? So we want all the lines to lead into this one point to make the viewer look at it. So this line, very good. This is a good path, but we should continue with that path and lead it up here as well. So just like make it a little bit more obvious. We can also start.
There's like a landslide going down.
We don't even need that. We can even
So
have
you
like a
know, those
line.
rocks keep that power.
We can lead a line of trees. Just sort of like lead that in. Everything is like sort of going in that direction. We can sort of like make that background a little bit more dynamic. Sort of like maybe have that overlap a little bit more. So you know, basically it's just like guiding everything in, right? But you get my point. It's just like you can mess around a lot more with the composition and everything. So I'm gonna undo that, and let's talk a little bit about what I saw with like all your sketches as a whole. Oh, cool. I got rid of it, but I can just paste it back. That's fine. The stream's like a couple like 5 seconds behind. That's fine. That's not too bad. Okay, so yeah, like the feedback I gave you originally with these, a lot of what I think you're doing is you're very much taking that like sort of standard fantasy shot and being like, okay, let's do variations of that, right? You're thinking of this very much like an illustration, if that makes sense. So when I was in art school, my major was in sequential art, right? So I studied comics. How we think about a lot is almost like we're directors, like your cameraman, right? Like you're a camera in a movie, and when you shoot a movie, you don't shoot all your shots from just like, hey, this is like a good concept art shot of being able to show stuff. You're not just trying to be like, here's a bunch of stuff for people to look at. This is an illustration. You're very much trying to like have interesting camera angles. You're trying to create those like interesting compositional shapes. You're trying to create readability at the same time. So like the sort of like the mentality is a little bit different. You are very much trying to find interesting ways to tell the same story, right? How I would approach something like this, because what it feels like where you started from was that you had a general idea, but you didn't have like a specific idea of what the area is supposed to actually look like. So you're sort of like setting it in a lot of like different kinds of places. Would that be accurate to say?
Yeah, I guess that's pretty accurate to what I was thinking, because I wasn't sure like what I really wanted it to be.
Right.
I just had the general starting idea of being like, it's like near the mountains, or it's like in the mountains.
Yes. Okay. So the thing with that is that I think when you're designing a place like this, I would sort of design it in multiple stages, right? Right now what you're doing is you're jumping straight into, all right, I'm going to make a cool picture. I'm going to make a cool illustration. I would recommend you to actually do that separately. I would recommend you to design what this location looks like, what the aesthetics of it are, what is the setting of this image before figuring out how do I shoot this to make it look cool. Like, this is something that we do a lot in video games, because like video games are like 3D spaces, at least a lot big video games are usually all in 3D spaces, so there's usually no single approach like a player will be able to look at like seeing from multiple angles and different approaches and different perspectives. So you want to figure out what the overall location is. So you like probably do like a level block out. You sort of like mess around with like kit bashing some assets in, that kind of stuff. You want to like figure out what the place is before you design the shot to show the place, if that makes sense. Does that?
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's like a little bit of like world building in a sense.
Yes,
Like,
very
trying
much.
to
Very much so.
get that like thinking of it more of a locational sense rather than a like this is like a single way to look at it. You have to look
Exactly.
at it from like all
Exactly.
angles that you could.
Exactly. Plus,
Do a little storytelling.
yeah. Plus, like as a DM, right? If I find that if I figure out what the location is before trying to make a cool picture of it, I can. It often helps me to think about what other stuff might not be there, or what stuff that can inform what I want to bring into the shot, right? Like you figure out what's there, like figure out both what's there and how do I show this at the same time is a little bit more confusing if you're trying to figure both things out. If you do it one step at a time, it usually helps you to be able like just process it better. So I would, yeah, like I said, do like a bunch of like sketches, figure out like how this location looks like. Is it at the top of the mountain? Is it hidden inside a valley? Whatever. And then we can go into making the shot look cool. We can figure out where to place the camera so it looks like an effective, interesting story. Did you end up figuring out what you wanted it to look like?
So I really like the one that you did point out that you liked the most.
Okay.
But I feel like I could scale down what that entrance is
Okay.
and make the landscape a little bit more, like the shapes be a little bit more style.
Right.
If that makes sense?
So the top right, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about that. So let's start by figuring out what the story we want to tell here is, right? So first, okay, how is it hidden?
So I kind of like the idea of the fact that it's like the shape almost, like the shape of the actual structure
Yep.
could mimic the rocks around it.
Oh,
Also,
interesting.
There being like more of a like a rocky overhang, so that might have to change the angle. I don't know.
Okay, because right now, it is very much like very straight angles, right? It doesn't.
Yes.
It definitely doesn't look super hidden. It looks like somebody smashed a church in there. So,
Yeah.
do
This
you?
is definitely like a thought I'm having like after making these
Mm-hmm.
to try and like think of more ways to like make it more hidden.
Yes. So, do we want to make it more actually look like a cave, or do we want to like sort of like keep it? You can still do the church thing. I feel like you definitely can, but you would need to like hide it in some other way. Like physically, it would have to be hidden. Like maybe it's like recessed inside a cave or something. Then it like the entrance is like a like actually cave, and you go in, and then the church looking part is inside. Like you could do something like
Yeah.
that. Or you could like make like the rocks actually sort of weird, like they could be like really straight rocks and sort of like build it in there and try and like make it a little bit more hidden that way. Like how do you feel? Like should we just try to make it like the actual structure look like a cave, or what do you want to approach this like?
I think it would be better if it were within a cave because then you can kind of get like more darker shadows, which is something I'd like to have is like for it to look more ominous
Okay.
as you're like approaching it. So it would be in that like partial cave where it's pretty much hidden from like the naked eye from a distance, but once you actually are able to get close and walk inside.
Okay, that's a cool idea. So I guess like we probably do like the usual video game thing and like have like life shafts come in from like like some like holes in the cave structure, not like literally just be pitch dark, right? Or would it be lit up from inside? Like where would the light come in?
I think the light would come in from maybe some holes could work. I don't know if the mountain would really have that for that cave, but I guess it could be. Although there are, I wouldn't say it's like far enough from the entrance of the mouth of the cave that it would be just like totally hidden.
Okay,
If
that's
that would work.
no, that's fine. Yeah, okay, cool. So I'm just like sketching out like what I can imagine it sort of being like. So you've got like the cave outside. I mean, like none of this is meant to be like the final, like actual final illustration. This is just for like sort of like brainstorming out for myself, right? So
Yeah.
you could have sort of like holes, and they could be like sort of like with light coming in. But so you obviously can't properly see it though. That's okay. Okay, that's sort of interesting. So I guess we can start figuring, like this is literally just like me sort of brainstorming through. So we've got like sort of like cave structure, and then we've got like the church inside. Is it a church again? What is the actual story of the thing?
So it's like I want to go with like more of a cathedral like architectural look to it.
Okay, so we're
it's seen
talking
as, like-
Gothic?
yeah, like Gothic.
Okay, real
um,
Gothic. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the idea is that it's like it's an unholy kind of place.
Okay, as a
but
Warhammer
the
fan,
cathedral-
as a Warhammer fan, I'm very familiar with what you're talking about. Cool.
Yeah, so it's got this almost like a dark like holy divine appearance to it.
Nice. Good shit. Okay, that's fun. All right, so let's we can make it even more ominous by sort of like, okay, so I'm sort of sketching out like what that cave structure looks like, right? So over here we've got our
And this is from a side view, right?
yes. So we've got our cathedral here. So the cave structure, how recessed would we want this to be? Like should it like be pretty recessed, or should it be like relatively obvious?
It should be relatively obvious. Like I think that
Okay.
distance away is pretty good.
Okay, that's pretty good. And then we can make it even more imposing by having like maybe you have to like go up some stairs to look at it.
Yeah.
So you can have to look up at it. It's like sort of like looming over you. That would be nice. Cool. I mean, that's a relatively basic structure, but I think that definitely helps a lot. See, like, we're just, like, brainstorming out, like, what this location even is before we start thinking about, like, shooting it from an interesting perspective, right? So we can have a bunch of stuff. We can even, maybe, like, what we can do is, like, you know, like, how, like, cathedrals have, like, alcoves, right?
Yes, like the little like with statues with that.
Yeah, so we can have, like, alcoves in the side of the cavern or something. And then you can have like weird, creepy statues in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that could be really fun. How edgy are we going?
Real edgy.
Okay, let's have a fuck
Full
ton.
edge.
Let's have a fuck ton of.
Everyone knows that the spikes are the edgiest design choice.
I gotta go full spooky. I would love to do more spooky.
Okay.
Spikes and skulls. Spikes
Yeah.
and skulls.
Have you heard the word of our Lord Warhammer? Look, you're talking to people who, well, you're talking to one active Warhammer fan, one not as active Warhammer fan. So, look, if you want to get into it, like we are really good people to talk to, I think. But yeah, so like I'm thinking like ramping it up, right? So like I'm just like instead of just alcoves, I'm gonna fill that entire wall with just like creepy statues. Like that's gonna be fucking that will be pretty nice. I think that would be pretty creepy.
Statues is always
Yeah.
very funny. I feel like a good statue.
And then like maybe we can do something more weird shit, like maybe the middle of it has like a big like just like endless pit in there in the middle, and it's like, oh, what the hell was that there for? And maybe like that that looks like, so maybe you've got like that entrance to the cathedral here, blah blah blah, coming down, and then you've just got like endless pit in the middle, very dramatic. And then you've got to like walk up the stairs on the sides to get up there. And then like the
You know.
is this for like a TTRPG?
Yeah, so this is actually for a campaign that I'm in.
Cool.
And,
So do you mind me just like
supposed
sort of,
to be.
I'm just spitballing ideas for you now. So like you have like an internal pit of darkness in here, and like just like the players will be like, what the hell is that? Like maybe like you can even have like sort of like maybe like, oh, maybe they use like pour blood down here, some bullshit like that. Yeah, this is where the fruit is sacrifice victims. Very much. Yeah, that's very pleasant and nice to think about.
Yeah, just to add a little bit of
Drama.
atmosphere to
Yeah, exactly.
entrance, you know?
Yeah,
More
adding
people coming in.
adding more spooky shit for, and like just like environmental storytelling. You don't have to confirm anything, but this is but you know, here's some weird shit and you don't know exactly what it's for. Never explain it. The players will make up their own stories for it, and if the players like it, then you keep it.
Yeah.
That's how
I feel like that's always fun because you always just wonder and you're like, I'm horrified and I don't know the answer, but that's okay.
Cool. So yeah, I think that's a
You know,
pretty fun
one-
idea. What's up?
Yeah, one thing I always love doing is incorporating pre-existing architectural styles into ideas and designs. So one thing I really love looking at is like Anglo-Saxon period stuff.
Oh, that's so
Just
British of
because
you.
you have so many. No. Listen to me. They had such good like metalworking and like really primitive, but also quite advanced for the time stuff happening.
Okay.
Like everything was like lining up and like I really love how they did like cottages and things. Like
Sure.
stonework.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You are
I'm
correct.
gonna info dump about ancient architecture if you don't stop me. So
Okay. That's not a bad thing. I did take art history too. I'm not gonna complain too much about it. But yeah, so okay, so we have a general idea of like what this place can look like now. So I think that's a pretty solid idea. Alright, so now we can do some actual shot design. So what I think we're gonna do is let's actually do this in Blender, because I very much like doing shot design in 3D because you can very easily sort of just like mess around with stuff and change up what you want. So let me start by opening up Blender and downloading a Gothic cathedral. So I sort of peek into like what I usually like doing for my thing. Alright, so I jumped into Sketchfab, and I think we can find a pretty cool cathedral to download here. Is this light big? Is this like baked in? I think, yeah, the Cologne
if you
Cathedral.
want a really, are you looking for something like that specifically?
No, I mean I'm just looking for like any cool cathedral. I mean I'm just looking for a cool cathedral that will work for what we're doing right now.
What about the catacombs of Paris?
What do you mean? I'm not gonna get a cathedral out of the
Like,
catacombs.
so- no, but like if you need like sort of like a wall texture, then
No, I'm not looking for a texture. I'm looking for like actual cathedral.
I see.
Okay, I mean,
You know,
Model.
I mean this is pretty fucked up. How does this feel? How does that feel for you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, let's use that. Cool.
Pretty sharp.
Alright, cool. And then we can just throw that into Blender. After finish downloading in like 15 seconds. And then we can do a bit of cheeky sculpting. Alright, so I'm just
By the way, guys,
What's up?
I know it's only an hour left until I need to like properly head off. But my mom just came back and I might need to cook dinner, so
Oh,
I'm
that's okay.
that's alright.
I mean,
Yeah,
we did.
but, like, I really enjoyed our time.
Hell yeah.
And I was honestly just blown away by how fast the blender stuff took.
It's really not that hard.
I know, and I'm kicking myself that I hadn't learned it sooner.
I mean,
Anyway, I'll
that's
let
what you
guys,
know me
Get
for.
on with discussing. Yes, I'll let you guys get on with discussing scene building and all that stuff, and I'll have a look at it later. Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
It's great to meet you.
Alrighty, Yeah, it was great to meet you too. Thanks for following me on Twitter, by the way. Much appreciated. Alrighty, and I'm excited to see more of your stuff, Shelby.
Yeah, I'm excited to see more of your stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, perfect.
Art friends.
I'm gonna head off now, but it has been real, it has been cool, and I will definitely want to stream with you two again at some point in the future.
Sweet.
Yes.
All right.
See you next time.
See you guys.
Bye.
I mean, we're still gonna be here for now. We'll keep doing this, but I guess that's Sophie off. All right. So, you still here, Saren?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Cool. All right. So I just quickly built out like a basic ass cave, right?
Yeah.
So this is like it. We've got inside, we've got an outside, and then let's drop a cathedral in.
On it.
Let's drop a cathedral in. Why don't we just like casually add a cathedral to my world?
Just force it on the mountain.
I mean, they're pretty evil, so maybe.
Oh yeah. They don't care.
Yeah, they didn't ask anybody for the rights to land. It's like, hell yeah, ours now.
Nobody's around here. Nobody's gonna say anything. Let's get on with our human sacrifices.
Oh, that didn't import properly. Maybe I should just download the FBX version and not the GLTF version. Well, that didn't work properly, so I'll just keep building out my land. Alright, let's see. Okay, so I'm just like quickly do a bit of sculpting to make it feel a little bit more natural. Oh no, quick texture, stop. Okay, whatever. We are working, okay. Let's see, Dino Tuple, great. Alright, so let's just soften out these edges. So that seems
texture.
so that seems pretty imposing to me. Let's sort of like maybe move that up a little bit more. So we get like a imposing, almost like arch shape.
Yeah, I was thinking like more elongated, sharp.
And then we can do the same thing with some clay strips. Yeah, I mean, like, it's not gonna look perfect, but that's fine.
Yeah.
We're just adding some texture there. Vaguely looks correct.
Get the good shots. Which I should have thought to do this originally. I think I was like intimidated by doing this part as if it was like, oh, like you should wait to do that when you actually have the
No,
the
you
one
can,
that you want. But it's like,
what you
wait,
mean
this is so simple.
you mean with like 3D?
Yeah, like once I actually have decided on like a thumbnail or like a shot that I want actually
No, but
modeling it.
but the more you use 3D, the better it will be for like pretty much everything. Like this was just, I mean, 3D is really good for thumbnails as well, if you know what you're doing, of course. So like it's just getting used to your tools.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good point of as a guide, if you're like lost, and also just to get more accurate angles.
Absolutely. No, I totally get you.
Plus to play around with it too, because you can feel a bit limited when it's just you working with like 2D.
Yeah, yeah.
artwork.
Well, it can go either way. It really is a matter of you knowing what's best for the piece.
Yes.
Let me see. Now I am importing 2.5 million polygons, and Blender should be okay with that theoretically, but it's gonna take a little bit of time to import, I think. Let's see.
I can do it. Come on, Blender.
Please don't die. I beg thee.
Please no crashing.
I mean, look, if
Did you
it
save? Did you save?
no, but it's fine.
It's okay.
Like it took me like 2 minutes to get there. Worst case scenario, we just do this in 2D. But I wanted to show you how I could do it in 3D because like it is very nice.
No, I totally get that. I feel like it'd work so much easier for me because I'm very much. I mean, as an artist, I'm very visual. So
Yeah, exactly.
being able to like play around.
Oh,
with
there we go.
The image.
It's in there.
Hey.
Cool. Now we have a cathedral. We stole somebody's cathedral, and
Big.
we're just gonna plop
Yeah.
it into our wacky little mountain. Okay, let's rotate it around so it's facing the right way. Big, very big. Okay, and then now we can place it in here. We don't even need all the spires or anything, I don't think.
Yeah. Seems like a bit much. Okay.
Okay. So now we can keep messing around with the sculpt a little bit, and let's figure out our shapes. Where's the scrape? Scrape? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's fine. It's all good, bruh. Okay. I mean, honestly, we don't even need to do all of this just for like what I intended, right? Because like this is just like I'm getting into way more detail than I even need for like just like blocking out a shot.
Yeah, but it just helps to see.
It feels nice, yeah.
It's a nice break from a drawing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it always helps, I find, to like sort of just like sort of like break up your workflow and not have it always feel the same.
Yes.
Let's see
I do feel very bogged down when I spend too much time drawing in 2D.
here. Okay.
I find that 3D definitely, now that I've been playing around with it, presents so much more
Possibilities.
so much more of like endless possibilities.
Compiling shaders. Okay, it's alive. Alright, cool. Thank God. Okay, let me just quickly assign a shader to this. So, alright, nice. Cool. Alright, let's light this. And we're gonna probably have some spots of light coming from in here. Radius, size. I mean, this doesn't really matter, right? But it's just like sort of like it's nice to have like a bit of visual stuff for yourself.
Yeah, it does a lot of the work for you. As far as like figuring out lights and like reflection.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not even gonna light it properly because like all we're going to really do today is just like, oh wow, that is very dark. Let me get rid of these.
It's too edgy.
It's too edgy. Oh no. Not too many sacrifices.
Who would have thought? I'm sorry guys, we really gotta tone down the human sacrifice this time.
I just a bit much, you know. Guys, just like come back to this. We gotta talk to HR a little bit about this.
I think we're all getting a little bored with the same kind of sacrifice. Might need to mix things up.
Yeah, like maybe we can do like Taco Thursdays, you know?
And no, they don't have to always include human meat, but it is an option.
And we will still cater for our vegetarian members, and and there will be paleo friendly friendly options.
I love this.
Look, you don't have to like people to care about animals.
Yeah.
But yes, so it's also very D&D-esque.
Oh no, knowing me, like, even if I love like being ominous with like my scenes or characters, I'm still such a sucker for having like the dumb like little interactions between NPCs.
Exactly.
It's just hard not to.
Oh no, I write some edgy shit, and then when my players break it, I'm just like, all right, that's in there now. Like I wrote like this edgy ass barbarian king that like was supposed to be almost like a horror thing, and then they made it into a joke by just like slapping like his guardian statues around, and then I was like, well, you guys made the king really depressed, and now he was meant to be a boss, and now he's just like he's having like, because they rolled really high on charisma and gave him like an existential crisis, and he was like, well, he's sad now, and he's like crying, but he's putting his soul into like this like golden body, so he can't even cry now, and they spent like the rest of the session like making him feel better. and then he just became like an ally, so I was like, oh, there you go, my players broke it, but it worked out for the best.
You know, sometimes those are like the most wholesome parts of the game.
It worked out, you know? You just gotta let your players do whatever funny shit. Alright.
It's D&D has always been
God, it's so good. I love it. But yeah, alright, cool. Oh no. Maybe I shouldn't have put in Cycles. Oh no, it works. Because Cycles does have better lighting. Okay. Cool. So now we have our ominous cathedral inside a cave. And now we can start thinking about how we want to shoot this. Right, so let's make a camera. So what a lot of like what we were doing was like I said, the sort of like standard fantasy shot, right? So we can still do that. So let's maybe align this with sort of like the 3/4 view. Maybe let's make it a little bit more dramatic. Let's like sort of look up at it. Sort of like 3/4 composition. Let me clip away this part of the... Okay, let's see what that looks like in rendered view. Probably let's lower our camera. Let's lower it even more. So that's like a relatively standard shot, and we can just start adding like a little bit more stuff to it, right? So just like okay, that's fine. Okay, so obviously we don't have a lot of stuff in this foreground, so what we can start doing is blocking stuff into the foreground with just like pretty much blocks.
Stuff that like can represent something that we
yeah.
trees.
I mean, you can get like actual assets to do this, but like right now, all I'm concerned about is the composition. So
it's the shapes.
yeah, it's the shapes. It really doesn't matter what the hell you're doing with the shapes. So let's see. Let's block off this
So I
part.
did not think of having those, like the two split screen for the camera and both the modeling. That is such a smart idea.
It is pretty much like super necessary for a lot of things, honestly. So let's block it off. Maybe let's also have like another piece of the foreground over here. So you can see we're just like really quickly adding stuff now, right?
Yeah.
Maybe let's add some like these are supposed to be trees or something. Like honestly, I would do this like probably really quickly in like Unreal and actually just build out what the scene looks like. Because like Unreal comes with like a bunch of assets and stuff that you can just immediately use, and that's usually really useful to just sort of like quickly populate your scene with. But
Oh, interesting. And do you have to pay for Unreal? I can't remember.
no, Unreal's free.
Okay.
But yeah, so you see what I'm doing right now. I'm literally just adding stuff to like populate the scene. Like, and this is like not a super like a dramatic scene or anything, but it's like you know, it tells you what you need to know. There's like a spooky little thing in there, hidden in the back. It's not exactly super easy to see. Alright, so I guess like that could be like one of the shots. And you just quickly take a snapshot of that. Alright, okay. How else can we mess with this? How else can we make it more interesting and more dramatic? So let's think about this. So we have this scene. What if we did something sort of wackier and maybe like did like a sort of like a top-down shot? That was like a sort of like this. Could be interesting.
Yeah, you can
And
get like a shot of that pit right there.
yeah, give me a sec. Okay. And obviously, you can like, it doesn't have to be perfect because you can like adjust things in 2D. But yeah, so this is all about finding what interesting camera angles to sort of tell the story you want, right? So with this, I can be like, okay, I can do like, well, let me see if I can spin that camera a little bit. Oh, I'm still in Globo here. Loco. Or maybe, actually, why not change the framing? So then you could have like, you could have your infinite pit sort of like down this line, right? And then you can have like a really interesting composition of like sort of like this line just going through in there, creating like some really strong shapes. I think that could be really cool. Yeah, this could be a really cool shot as well. But you see like just like having like that basic geometry to start being there really helps to sort of like get your creative juices flowing, and you can just like sort of move your camera around and find interesting ways to sort of shoot your shot, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like this is incredibly helpful. And with the orientation of the camera, does that matter, like, for more landscape or, like, portrait style? Because I know you have the camera in more of a vertical length.
Well, what do you mean?
Oh, well, the camera itself is in a vertical orientation unless it's, like that. Does that matter specifically?
For what? The story or?
For, like, the actual size and shape of the image that you're going to create.
Sort of. You see what I'm doing right here is I'm changing the resolution. So like the resolution itself is changing, but you can also always like up-res it, so it's not too bad. Like for example, right now I have it set to 1080 times 2148, right? So that is the resolution it will render out as. But if I want to render out lower res, I could go down to this 100% below instead to 50%. I'll render this at only 50% of that resolution. I can set to render 200%. So render 200% this resolution. So it doesn't matter as long as the aspect ratio is correct. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. Yeah, so that's that. But yeah, so another, when you want something to feel imposing, sometimes you can just like put it in the middle of your screen and look, then, you know, you get that really dramatic effect.
Yeah.
And then you can
I
like,
do like that.
yeah, having that sort of like emotional resonance usually can help. I mean, I don't think the elevation is like 100% correct. I would like tweak it a lot more in 2D and stuff. But just having those shapes there to help guide your drawing does help a lot. Like, once again, we just quickly made like a cave shape, right? This cave shape is probably not going to be anywhere near the final actual shape. But this is just to create like something for us to base our composition and drawing off of. So like none of this has to be final as long as it works. Yeah, so for example for this, like you have to like, did we go over like sort of like the different types of shots before? I feel like I did that
Showing a few angles, but with the actual camera in Blender.
No, sort of for storytelling purposes, basically.
Oh, for like tilting the camera. I don't know if
we can we can quickly go over some of that stuff actually then. But yeah, for example, like I'm tilting the camera up a little bit to look up at it, a little bit more ominous, or we can do some other stuff. We can sort of like, okay, what if we want to be sort of like coming up on the temple, maybe sort of like it's peeking out of the corner of our eye, and sort of like we can have like where is it, armature? Okay, so maybe we have this boy. Oh yeah, but he's not rendered. Doesn't matter. I can just add a cube as a person. Yeah, that's our person. Close enough. So you can have sort of like, here, let me add a monkey head. So this is sort of like from a point of view of like maybe somebody like walking along the road, and then like so let me crop that off so we're only rendering that part. So maybe like you're sort of like viewing this from like a very almost like behind the shoulder shot of like somebody wandering along this road and like coming upon like the silhouette of the thing in the background. So you know, you can like get some like more interesting shots than sort of just like a standard, hey, here's a landscape and we're gonna look at the landscape, you know.
It's like setting a scene.
Yeah, think of like different ways of showing the scene itself and like telling a cool story basically. Yeah, so but let's quickly talk about sort of like different camera angles. So there's a bunch of different types of shots. So the most basic type of shots, there's a wide shot. So let me just quickly, most of these shot terms are sort of like based on like Hollywood sort of like cinematography, right? So a lot of it is based around characters and how it relates to a character. So a wide shot is a shot that has a full character in frame. You like it should be showing on stream, right? Let me check.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so a wide shot is like this. It's like a lot of background, small character. Okay? Very good for setting a scene. Very good for making the character feel lonely, because a lot of usage of shots relates to sort of like the emotional resonance and like the implied emotion that you're trying to get into your scene. So you've got like a lot of like wide shots, you feel very distant, because like how the viewer relates to the character is how these shots are usually framed, right? It's like you're meant to feel like, if you want to like feel it's like, oh, it's the Wild West or something. It's like, oh, just like a huge, you want the viewer to feel like they're in like an abandoned, like just like desolate landscape of just like nothingness. Then you zoom out, you show the character, main character, really far away from the camera. You show a lot of space. That tells the story for the viewer. Like, it makes sense. And then so that's. Or otherwise, you can also use it for like a ton of things. Like, you know what establishing shot is?
Yes.
Yeah, so establishing shots are most of the time going to be wide shots because, once again, it's really good for showing background. So, like, it doesn't have to feel lonely because, like, then you don't show, you just design your shots just so it's not focusing on a single character. It is focusing on the background itself. Then that's also considered a wide shot. So that's what a wide shot is. One step in is actually a cowboy shot. This is not as common, but actually this is a really good. Okay, so god damn it. But okay, so this is sort of a shot breakdown. So you've got the wide shot or full shot as sometimes it's known. We have the full body. You've got the medium full shot or the cowboy shot, which is knees or above. The medium shot is sort of like the waist / hips or above. You've got like the close shot, which is like the shoulders and above, and then you got like the extreme close-up, which is just the face. So the cowboy shot is called a cowboy shot because like it was used a lot in like those like old westerns because it's really good for like a cool sort of just like a cool guy pose where you're showing most of the body but not all of the body. So it's usually like a little bit below like the waist or hips, so you can sort of see like you sort of like this is like a standard cowboy or medium full shot. Medium shot, like I said, is waist or above. It feels a little bit more intimate, but it's still a good compromise between sort of like the emotion and being able to see the background, right? So if you want to show multiple characters, this is usually a really good way to do it. You are focusing the characters, but not overly so on one single character. And then you've got the close shot, which is when you have just like shoulders and up. So now we're getting into a territory of very character-focused storytelling, right? This is where you're starting to be like, okay, we're focusing on this one single character and what their story is. And then you've got extreme close-up, which is, I'm not even talking about the character anymore. I'm talking about the specific emotion that they're feeling.
Okay.
Yeah, that all makes sense, right? So this is all just based on how far the camera is from the main character.
Yes.
Cool. Now let's talk a little bit about sort of like tilting your camera. So the classic tilting camera shot is like the up, like, how do you just call it? Just like upshot?
I know it had a weird. I know I was maybe I'm thinking a different one. No, I'm thinking of like the actual tilted to left or right.
Yeah.
That one has like a unique name.
Sure. But yes, so like there's the low shot and there's a high shot. The low shot is when the camera is low and you're looking up something, and that obviously what it's intended to make the viewers feel like is to make the subject of your piece feel intimidating because you're looking up at them. They look bigger than the viewer. Makes sense. And then there's the high shot. The high shot can be used in a few ways. The high shot can be either used to like make the viewer, make whoever, whatever the subject matter is, feel weaker than you, the viewer, because you're looking down at them. Or obviously you can use it in a variety of ways. Sort of like it's just like there's more of a stylistic thing. You're sort of like you're like a point of view sort of thing. Sort of like more, maybe you can use it in a more sort of like descriptive manner, like, okay, you can easily tell where the characters are going because you're looking down at them and you can see the entire scene around them, so you sort of like get a good clear sense of the spatial relationship. So that all makes sense, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. And then there's sort of like different dialogue shots. One classic shot that is used a lot is behind the shoulder shot. So it's basically shots where it's framed by a character, right? It's like sort of like you're looking over the character's shoulder. This usually helps to put you in the mind frame of a single character. So like we're looking almost from their point of view, but not quite. So this is like we're supposed to be feeling what they're feeling, but we're not like exactly point of view. That makes sense?
Yeah,
It's like
that makes sense.
it also usually adds like a really nice big shape to the composition. So you can sort of use it to like block stuff out. You can use it to occupy space. You can use it to play with like the shapes, sort of modify the light, all that kind of stuff. So that's what we're sort of doing here is almost like a behind the shoulder shot of where we're looking from like a character's point of view. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, the almost like we're placing ourselves in that spot.
Yes. So this is like all stuff that you can think about when it comes to like doing storytelling with your composition, right? So, like for example, if we do like that high shot that we did earlier, looking down at the cathedral, that's going to be a very descriptive shot. It's going to be very dramatic, but it's not going to feel very relatable. We're not looking at this from a person's point of view. A lot of the time you'll see like a lot of like concept art illustrations be shot from a point of view of a person, like not a person, but like from a camera person, right? From somewhere where a human can physically get to, where you can imagine a human looking at the scene from, right? So in this shot, even though we're not directly that person that is the subject matter of the shot, we are somewhere where we know a human can be, and where a human might sort of like, oh, you can imagine yourself to be maybe somebody behind this person and looking at him look at the thing, and it helps to the viewer to relate a little bit more to how to be becoming more immersed essentially in whatever story you're trying to tell. Right, so that was like one thing that I noticed a lot in your sketches. They were very much from almost like a classical landscape sort of shot, where it's like, hey, I'm trying to show you this landscape, and I'm not trying to be cinematic about like how a person might be approaching or feeling or experiencing this world. And often, a lot of times, I feel like that helps a lot with this kind of illustration. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess in the sense of like thinking of like actual like art for games, it's almost like what the player would see.
Yes.
Of sense.
Yeah, and it also feels very cinematic, very filmic. It just helps a lot for like, because that's how most movies are shot, right? They're shot from like a human's point of view. Yeah, they'll have like some wacky shots sometimes, but like most of the time it's going to be from like a relatively humanistic point of view, and that just works well for a lot of people because people can relate to people. It just works. So yeah, like going through that, like a lot of it is just like experimenting with like what kinds of stories you can tell. You can have like, okay, we can have like our person to be coming off this sort of like up a road and finding it. Like you can have maybe even a shot of somebody like sort of like looking up, and somebody leaving here, sort of like we're telling more of a story with it, right? So like we can figure out like what the character within within our visual storytelling is doing. So like you can have like the standard concept art thing of having, hey, here's a person who's like maybe on a journey and then they found it. That's like very standard. But maybe we can do something more interesting. Like maybe we can have like a character who's leaving this place actually. So like maybe if we can shoot it from like this angle. And maybe we have like a character. Sort of like maybe the character is sort of like done with this place and it's like leaving, and that's like, that's a really weird place to be leaving from. So maybe like maybe they've been adventuring. Maybe this monkey has been murdering people in there and it's coming out with like a bag of loot, or maybe it's like one of the dark priests that built this place and they're leaving on a pilgrimage, or like just like starting with like a story to tell usually helps a lot with just like framing your shot interestingly. So we can do that. We can maybe have like a point of view from like sort of like maybe have like a flat shot very far away of like a wide shot, maybe like you want somebody to feel really small in this space, then yeah, you use a wide shot and you once again you make them feel very isolated. And once again, it's all about the emotional resonance of what story you want to tell, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So but you get what I mean. It's just like messing around with all these different stories you can tell, and like not just like, hey, here's a landscape. We can do a lot more with it if we actually try and pump more of a story into this place. Yeah, it's like once again like what I was doing with like sketching out like my ideas for like the more stuff than just like the cathedral, like with like sort of like that infinite empty pit to look at, like that once again that's like more stuff to focus on and more story to tell, right? So for example, we can have a story, we can sort of shoot this from a shot of like focusing almost on the pit itself and not exactly the not quite only the what do you call it, the cathedral. So maybe let's mess around with this. So we can have like, where did I delete my infinite pit indicator? I think I did.
Oh no.
No, it's fine. I'm just gonna make a new one. A new infinite pit of despair.
Gotta replace the old one.
Yep.
It's not working properly.
It happens. Like sometimes things just break. And you gotta, and even evil contractors don't do their job all that well sometimes. You know.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a little too much of an OSHA violation.
You can't even you can't trust anybody these days, especially not contractors.
Oh no.
I mean, that's just usually true. Of evil and non-evil ones.
Yeah.
But, so, let me just, like, quickly bullying this out. Okay, so we've got, like, this infinite pit here. Oh, no. It's a rendering? Okay, it is rendering. Cool. Yay. Okay, so now we can maybe do, like, a low interesting story with this infinite pit, right? So maybe we can have like a little party of like adventurers, like sort of like standing around a pit and sort of like wondering what the hell is in it, or maybe like, or maybe even more interestingly, maybe they can have like maybe they're climbing down into it for some reason because they're goddamn idiots and they don't listen to the DM's warnings of doom, and they're like, oh, like there's a pit, we gotta go into the pit, because of course that's what adventurers do. But you know, you can start. But adding these like interesting elements into your scene and sort of like building your own story around it informs the story that you're going to tell because you have a story to tell. I mean, that just makes sense, right? Yeah. So that was like why I sort of thought like a lot of like sort of the storytelling that you did wasn't super interesting. It was just very much like, what does a normal piece of art look like? And that's like usually the least interesting way you can do a piece of art, because it's just looking at what other people have done and being like, here's my own version of that. Telling a more effective story will sell the location more to you and sell the location more to your viewer, you know? And then like obviously the other part of doing like the 3D, why doing 3D is super useful is like you can also just like start messing with the light. You start like sort of like tweaking that around, make it way more dramatic. So it's like doing it in 3D especially helps a lot. I think it makes them for some really cool workflows.
Absolutely. I feel like you find more stuff that you wouldn't have otherwise without it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's see, so let me sort of blend this shape out. But yeah, was that helpful?
Yeah, this is all very helpful.
Do you have like any questions for what I was talking about?
I don't think so. I feel like it all really flowed very well, and I think I understand what you're referring to with like the storytelling part and actually figuring out the structure itself.
Cool.
First off, like the composition, the idea, and then actually trying to recreate something similar to get, you know, all the kind of shots that could be a bit more intimate for the viewer to almost place themselves or like feel like they're there or feel small or scared or intimidated by what they could be going into.
Yep.
With this view.
So I brought up this this is a book called Framed Ink. This is like sort of like the holy grail of like learning how to do storytelling within a frame. In my opinion, it's like one of the things that we sort of like almost use as a textbook in our art school. It's very useful, as you can see, like sort of like it's going over like all the different shots and what you can use them for, and how you can sort of like frame your shots and like sort of analyzing all that stuff, right? I think this is a very good book that you should look into. I have a copy of this. I will send it to you later. This is very
Yeah.
good reference for storytelling.
Yes, I would love that because now I'm just looking at the shots and everything looks so dynamic, and I see what they are doing with like the very, very simple shapes.
Yes, breaking it
Yes,
down
oh my
into
God.
most like the basics, right? Thinking over like what makes this scene interesting to look at in the first place before I even get. It's like a gesture drawing for your environment. It's not like everything is composition. Like a gesture drawing is just composition as well, because you're trying to make it look interesting. So like, why wouldn't you do gestures for your entire image? Obviously, like a lot of the time, like not everybody's going to do this. Like most people aren't going to literally just draw the basic shapes. Like even I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna do like big thumbnails. I'm gonna still like elaborate a little bit more than this, but it's good to keep this stuff in mind, right?
It definitely is, and I feel like it could be a lot easier for me, just in the sense that like sometimes I get really lost in like the thumbnails and how like detailed they need to be,
Yeah.
and I feel like that can like ruin my inspiration, my artistic process by thinking too hard on like what details, like very minute details I'm gonna wear, when it really could just come down to like what needs to appear in what area of like the image and be the focal point. And
Yeah.
what can complement the focal point.
Just start with the absolute basics and then build your way out of it. Like you start with the biggest ideas and then go down to the small ideas. You know, that's just how it works.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's do like a little bit more of sketching. I think I've got another 20 minutes prepared for the stream. If you're cool to like hang around, we can just like do a little bit of drawing and chatting. How do you feel about that? Or do you have stuff you want me to like specifically do? Like I can like go over like some of your sketches and we can take a look at that if you want.
I'm really down for anything. There wasn't anything specific, unless like there's anything else you think would need to be covered.
I don't
clarified.
think so. I mean, we covered pretty much like what we needed to, I think. Yeah, you know what? Let's just do a little bit of sketching and let's like take a look at your sketches and see what we can do to mess with them. So I do like a couple of the shots you're working with in the new batches of sketches as well. So we've got these. So I do definitely think like are you trying to make these more square on purpose?
Yeah, this is definitely a lot more rudimentary. These were a lot more quick.
Yeah.
The square. Oh, the shaping. No, not necessarily. I think I was trying to resize the canvas, and it kind of just came out that way because I was trying to fit all the thumbnails.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine then. But yeah, it's just like, you know, usually most people work with like a more horizontal format. It feels like it gives a little bit more space to breathe.
Yeah, I was definitely wanting to be able to translate it into more of a more landscape, more wide landscape.
Sure. I mean, I'll just do that now.
Yeah.
I work really wide just because like that's how a lot of like it feels like the ultra wide kind of thing, right? It feels nice for a lot of people.
Oh no, I totally get it. I feel like sometimes my pieces aren't wide enough. Sometimes, like I could add more, right?
Yeah.
I just wanna see more.
Exactly. But yeah, I think this shot is sort of interesting. I think this could work. But let's work on this one a little bit. Okay. So yeah, we've got this now. Let's break this down into the absolute basics. Let's threshold this. Okay, so effectively these are what your shapes are. So
Basic.
what
That makes it clear as up.
so what do you think, how do you feel about these shapes?
I don't know if I like the shape in the middle. I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like that guides to the center as much as it could.
Mm-hmm.
It feels a little too like those two indentations with the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
They seem too like aligned of like the same length. If
Yep.
that makes sense. You see those like the white kind of coming in.
Yes. So yes, I'm going to say that I'm not a big fan of these shapes in particular. So let's see. Let's break down why I don't think they work that good. So the rhythm, like it's like what you said, right? There's sort of like almost like a rhythm to it, where a lot of the elements feel sort of repetitive. Like the length is sort of like let me just draw over these. So we've got like this bit, this bit, this bit, this bit. This feels like almost like a stacked shape, right? It feels very similar, and then it also feels very similar to what you're doing here. There's not a lot of variance there. It feels almost weirdly, almost like a gear or something, where it's like a cogwheel or something like that. It's not creating a very interesting shape. It feels a little bit lumpy in terms of the composition. And it does this shape, you always want flow to your shapes, right? You want your shapes to be leading the viewer's eyes somewhere. You want them to be interesting to look at and to actually go somewhere within composition. If I took this shape and asked somebody, where is the flow? I don't think anybody could really answer that, because like there's no single flow. It's not really, there's no emphasis. It's not going anywhere. And especially in this case, you want your shapes to all go to this focal point, right? So if we're gonna mess with this shape, we're probably gonna we want to break it down to like very basic stuff. Maybe let's say, like obviously this might be like, this is definitely a little bit too simplified, but like something like this, right?
Yeah.
Like
It's very simple, but like it definitely.
it's very
gets more of
evocative.
that.
Yeah, it's very evocative. So we want to be making sure the composition is always leading somewhere interesting and somewhere interesting to look at. And also obviously this part of the composition is not really interacting with this part of the composition, right? Like you have like this shape and it's just sort of like leading to here. Like if you had like a big, okay, so like let's do what I did just now again, but maybe a little bit more interesting. So maybe let's do something like this. Something like that, okay. We want these two big shapes to be interacting with each other. So maybe we can have sort of something like this, where it's like leading us up towards sort of like here. So it's like trying to like, this goes here, this goes back here, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just like thinking about sort of like these big things that can really elevate your work. So let's mess around with this a little bit. So I think I like they adding stuff to the foreground here, but I don't think this is really that interesting because like this, there's sort of like just like a bit of like awkward dead space here, right? So why don't we just sort of like take that and move that over here? We don't need that to be in the middle of the screen because it's really there as a framing element, unless you intended that to be like an actual part of the story.
No, it's more or less a framing element.
Okay, so if it's a framing element, then put it on the frame. You know, like we don't need that there, so why put it there? Okay, so that cleans that up a little bit. So we can start making, let's see, so these are very jagged. We can definitely still have these be jagged, but we want to make sure that they're flowing into like a single larger shape. So maybe I can move this up. Okay, so we're getting a little bit more of that shape, interesting big shape back. And let's try and sort of like point the shape down towards this. So we have like this line down here now, and also you can sort of like when you do your lighting, this will be super helpful because then you'll be sort of like going across this line when you do your lighting and sort of doing this, you know, so your lighting will also be
Yeah.
reinforcing the composition. So I think that's super helpful. That would be great. Okay, so we want to have that nice procession of that big shape going like this. So we want to make sure like all these elements are sort of like in line to create a bit more of that directional feel. Sort of like push that in a little bit more. Cool. I think that's starting to get interesting. Let's see, how do we feel about, let's see, how does everything else lead in? So let's look at the rule of thirds. Yeah, there we go. So what I think we have right now is like, this is like slightly off the rule of thirds, which is fine. We don't need it to be exactly on, as long as it generally lies within the direction. But what I think we can, but I think it might be a little split between this and here, because you've got like both this interesting pointy shape up here and the door down here. Maybe we can sort of like have that be a little bit more focused on one area. So what I'm thinking is maybe we can move this up a little bit more. So now we're sort of like tilting it up towards this one, because having like focusing on one is better than focusing on two. It makes it feel a little bit more interesting.
It doesn't distract or like cause the viewer to have to like look between those two areas.
So I think that's sort of interesting. So let's mess around a little bit more of that, and also that helps to elevate it and bring it out of like behind the foreground, so you don't have those like foreground elements that are necessarily tampering with it, and also helps to give you some of that sort of like that intimidation from it being above you back, right?
Yes, absolutely. So you're looking up at it as it moves in the, just barely in the shadows.
Yep. So let's mess around a little bit more of this. So this one, we want this place to feel sort of like enclosed and like sort of like secret, right? So I think it would might be a good idea to like add stuff in the top of the foreground, something like this, because it makes the space feel like it's closing in on you a little bit more. There's more stuff like sort of like blocking off your vision. It's not just like open.
Yeah, what you were doing earlier with blocking it out and kind of just showing it, it almost like gave me the idea of it being in like a kind of a mountain path that's like got an overhang where it's almost like cut out of the side of the mountain. So that allows for that kind of overhang once you reach that area of the entrance.
Yeah, so I think that's all pretty interesting. Let's just turn off my pen tilt for a moment. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's think about this secondary shape now. So we've got this big shape like this now. It's pointing towards here. So maybe we make this one a little bit like this. So it's like pointing this, just like that. That could be good. So how can we get that? So maybe we pull this back a little bit. And then lower this down a little bit more. Extend the lit area to make it a little bit more lit. Alright, and now we've got it sort of like pointing out that way. And you've got like sort of like this crisscross composition that's making it look a lot more interesting, I think. Cool.
Yes.
And now we can start thinking about sort of the secondary shape and compositions, right? So we've got sort of this mountain in the background. Once again, I don't think there's a lot of flow there, and I don't know how well it's like servicing the composition of story. So for now, let's sort of like pull that back. Let's pull that out.
Yeah, I think with that it was kind of just trying to show that there was like a connected mountain, but I don't know how much that would be
No
helpful to
worries.
the actual composition.
I mean, you can also still do that in different ways as well. So let me just quickly delete all of that. Paste this back in. Oh, well, there was nothing in there. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we have that. Yeah, we can still have it be connected, but it doesn't have to only go. But, well, you can make it really strong. Like that. That is actually not the worst. That could sort of be interesting. But you probably want it a little bit more balanced. So I'm thinking maybe something like this, maybe. Yeah, you never want your elements to feel perfectly balanced unless you're specifically trying to make it feel balanced, because that's something like the artists and humans often just default to by accident and not on purpose. That doesn't actually do a lot for you. So right now we have like the sky be a lot like a much more dominant. But of course we can also have it the other way. But if we're gonna have the other way, I think what we can do is have it sort of like go like this, where once again it's reinforcing this.
Yeah.
Once again we're reinforcing the shape of it going down that way, and it can still feel connected, right? So like maybe we can like still add like a break off a little bit like that, so we can still feel like, okay, maybe like this part of mountain range is actually connected. And then it's like sort of like twisting and turning a little bit, and then you can like start adding like micro shapes, smaller shapes to break up the silhouette, so it's not just straight. You know, so stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I do very much like the balance of sort of like the dark and the light in the mid ground. So you've got like the light be like in this very small part. That, I think that is a very strong idea. I think that works really well. So
Yes, very much shaded.
yes,
Still ominous.
making sure it's edgy enough.
Yes.
The good shit. So obviously we want the lightest parts. Actually, you know what? You know what makes it edgy? If part of this is actually in shadow, that could actually be pretty edgy.
Oh, so
It's showing parts of
that
it.
rock is kind of getting in the way. That shadow.
Yeah, so you've got sort of going like this, and then the entrance itself is in shadow, partially in shadow. So it looks inviting, a little bit mysterious. So, you know what? I think I like that. Okay, so for a light to go in like that, I would have to, you'd have to like sort of like manipulate this rock to be a little bit more like this. Yeah, spikes, the edges shape.
More spikes. Not enough.
Oh, you can tell I like Warhammer. But yeah, you can sort of like build that angularity into your composition, and just like making sure like your shape language you're using on the rocks is much edgier than just like, you know, like standard normal like non-stylized rocks. Build that into your piece. Like get
That's
across.
definitely the goal with the initial. Though it wasn't as jagged as it could have been.
Yeah. Always stylize a little bit, right? Unless you're going for like a very grounded, realistic setting, there's always some room for stylization in your shapes. So once again, I'm like, instead of like having like it go like this, I'm having it go, oh oops, I got rid of it, but you know, I go like this. So we're all reinforcing sort of like that sort of like diagonality of the composition, which I think is really nice.
Yes, it flow. It does have that flow, like you mentioned.
Yeah, it definitely works much better, I think. And you can still have like, maybe some like stalagmites that are a little bit lit. I don't know. Maybe you don't need that. But brainstorming.
Yeah, you just gotta see. You can test.
Yeah. So sort of messing around a little bit more.
Of course, that's always something you can test out as well in 3D to see if certain,
Exactly.
Features of the land would work
Yes.
for certain parts.
Exactly. I mean, but yeah, so like this definitely is like very much depends on what you feel the most comfortable with, like what helps you the most. If 3D is sort of like making you slower, then use 2D. If 2D is making you slower, use 3D. And if you're feeling bogged down, you can jump from one to the other. Like for example, I can take this. You know what? I can quickly demonstrate that as well. We'll quickly drop this into 3D in a little bit. I'll show you how I would do that. But yeah, so I think we're sort of creating an interesting scene here. Okay, and maybe you sort of reinforce that a little bit up here as well. A slightly different angle so it doesn't feel exactly the same.
And I feel like these the sharper rocks. If this were like a composition, we would have gone with for the actual idea of the cathedral esque structure.
Mhm.
The spires would probably work really well with those rocks.
Yeah, and now
Just like
this
little hints to them.
and now this also starts like leaving some space for you to like add other elements, like a nice little character.
Yeah, just a little guy.
A little guy about to be murdered, but he doesn't quite know it yet.
Doesn't know it. Just has the dumb brain of exploration.
Let's see, where should I place him? Trying to figure.
Like that could be a good area since like he would just kind of
I sort of like.
with all the rocks.
I like that he's breaking the silhouette a little bit here, actually, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, I feel like he would blend too much on the left side of the piece.
He would. Alternatively, we can sort of like put him here. That's not the worst. But you know, like, but you know what I mean. Like, you can start playing with like ideas and start like placing things. But let's sort of like before we sign off for a night, let me just drop this into 3D and see sort of like we can sort of like bash this out and see how that feels. Let me open the Blender back up. Cool. And let me save out the sketch and we can drop it into Blender. Oh, the music stopped. Nah, it's fine. It's probably just asking me, are you still there? I'm like, yes.
It's like, no, I'm not done.
No. Not yet. Not while there's still edginess to continue. And spite.
Yes.
Edgy cave.
Just been listening to the Skyrim soundtrack while watching.
Oh, that's good. I mean, it did actually auto. The YouTube did actually autoplay onto the Skyrim soundtrack, but I was like, no, that's copyrighted.
Oh no, we can't do that.
Yet. Cool. So I just literally just dropped into Blender. And we can literally just start cutting the scene up.
Oh, interesting. We have a little diorama.
Yeah. What? Empty? What? Wait. Oh, it's not a. Okay, I have to like import it properly. Okay, that's fine. I'll do the proper way. Okay. Okay. Cool. Alright, now we have our piece. And now we can just start cutting it up. You know what? I'm not going to do a really good job of this right now. I'm just going to go real fast.
I think that's totally fine. No, it has to be a perfect recreation.
Yeah, especially not for like a really quick sketch, I guess. Doesn't matter. I'm only doing this as a demonstration. I have to go to work tomorrow. It's not the worst thing. I like going into work. I don't think I told you, but like our studio is giving us so much free food. I haven't.
Oh, that's awesome. That's perfect.
I haven't had to like buy groceries in like the last month.
Gosh.
Yeah, out of the last week, out of we had free dinner every day of the week, and free breakfast for 3 days of the week, and on Tuesday they also had free ice cream.
What?
Yeah,
Lucky you.
yeah, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, studios got money, I guess. They're paying for it.
Well, that's good that they're taking care of y'all.
Thank God, yes. There are so many studios which is just like absolute shit to work for. We don't crunch. Like, thank God.
No, that's great.
Yeah, that's so important.
That's one. I feel like that's hard to come by with a lot of studios.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, absolutely true. Okay, so I've cut up the foreground. Let's cut up that midground. But yeah, there's been so much free food. Like, it's been such a nice thing because like I could save so much money on groceries. And I don't have to like eat out for dinner or anything. So it's just like, hey, here's a bunch of free food. Because like every night there's an event. There's also free food there. So there's been so many nice events to attend as well. It's been a really good vibe.
It's getting you guys bang for your buck.
Hell yeah. Well, no, I'm not even getting banned for my buck. I'm getting paid to be there, remember?
Yeah, you're getting paid. And also being treated well.
Yes.
I feel like it helps you be more productive in that sense.
Let's say yes. Yeah, I'm productive.
Look, it's better off of what you could be.
True, true. Alright. We've cut this up a little bit, and now we can start messing around with making it more three-dimensional.
What tool are you specifically using to like create the vertices to shape?
Oh, I'm using the knife tool. So the knife tool literally just allows you to like cut up a shape.
Oh, okay. Nice.
You know what? Maybe I should have subdivided this before. Let's see. Or maybe the subdivision is just like sort of fucked up because the shapes are fucked up. That's fine. It's like breaking a bit. You know what? Let's do this instead. Let's turn this into a 3D shape. Alright, cool. Yeah, it still breaks, but whatever. What can you do? Alright, so let's...
What you gonna do? It's just an image.
Yeah, so we can sort of like pull and... Oh, you know what? Let me cut out this path, actually. Let me cut that. Okay. And now we can move this back in 3D space. And so I'm just like trying to like get it into like an actual geometry, right? Like make sure it's like actually in 3D.
Yeah.
So later,
Some object depth.
exactly. And then once we actually start messing around with this, we can very easily relight it. Okay. Now we have this, we have the background. You know what? Let's just quickly see how that looks. So obviously we've got like that baked in light, but
Yeah.
oh yeah, wait, I forgot. I should also you know what? I can just cheat that.
Was it with the structure? Before
Yeah.
it went out?
Sort of having like more of that. Yeah. I mean, like if I was gonna do this more carefully, obviously this would be much better, but it's fine.
Yeah.
But you
That's
know,
okay.
but you know, like see, I can start actually adding light to this. That's actually pretty cool, right?
That is pretty cool. Ooh.
Yeah, so if you did this actually way more carefully, like if I had separate these out in layers in Photoshop, and then like just added them in, like you know, like you could just make this into like a whole 3D thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, add
I'm sure it
for
looks
like
a lot
character.
more crisp, more accurate.
Yeah, so this actually is like a very fun technique for just like doing some fun effects and stuff, and it can also help for like adding stuff to your sketch, right? Like if you just wanted to like, all right, I have a sketch, but I want to add a character in. I have a 3D character. I can throw it in and light it within the sketch, and then take this and paint over it. Like that actually works really well. Like it's a very fun thing to work around with. But
Ooh,
but yeah,
okay.
that's how I do it. So you literally
So-
just literally cut it up, throw it into 3D, and just like start adding lights, start adding other stuff. It's very nice.
No, it is. It's also pretty satisfying just to see.
Oh yeah, for real. I mean, obviously, like if I had done this in layers, then like it wouldn't be so dependent on this one single camera angle. But yeah, it still works.
Yeah.
Cool.
What it is to get that the lighting. and
Yeah,
shadow
yeah, yeah.
composition.
But yeah, let's wrap up for the night then. Afternoon for you, but close enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, why don't you give one last introduction of yourself, and then I can wrap up for the end of the stream.
Yeah. So I just as a reminder, I'm Saren, or Sure, as I'm known online. I'm a freelance illustrator, published comic author, illustrator. And you can follow me at Twitter and Instagram at Shabirthday. It's both of them.
Cool.
Got time on that username.
Hell yeah. And are you taking commissions? Are you taking work?
I am taking commissions.
Hell
So
yeah.
Just DM me at Twitter or Instagram. I have them open, and
Hit-
I will send you my rates.
Hit Saren up anytime if you need work. And on the other hand, Sophie, who had to leave earlier because her mom came back, Sophie Elliott, she does a bunch of work with TTRPGs. She's also a big, well, she's ex-Warhammer fan, but she does a bunch of illustrations as well. She did like a series of children's books. She's also super cool. Thanks to both Saren and Sophie for coming on and hanging out with me for like a few hours to just like talk nonsense and watch me mess around with Blender and complain about bit rates and like internet providers. But yeah, I think we're wrapping up for now. I think that was good enough for today, and hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.